Hey, let's go!
Are you ready to reign in college fantasy football? College Fantasy Reign is your premier CFF resource with insights from a CFF pioneer. Secure your new reign. This is the College Fantasy Reign Podcast, and you're listening to Fantasy Reign Rundown with Joe Arpasi. That was the wrong video at the end there, guys. I reused the video from Fantasy Reign Rundown, but this is the College Fantasy Reign Podcast. My name is Joe Arpasi, and we are doing a special live broadcast here for the Battle for the Belt 52-man league challenge. This draft's live draft here. I'm going to start things off by thanking our two league sponsors. Our host sponsor for this league is Fantrax. We are doing such a unique league, and we're going to go over the structure of this in a minute, but they have been an awesome sponsor for hosting this league. And then I also want to thank our belt sponsor, which is armchampionshipbelts.com. This is the second year in a row that they have provided the championship belt, which is awarded to the winner, which I'll go ahead and show everybody now on the screen here. The 2026 champion will receive that belt, and they're doing an awesome job. This is the second annual version of this league, and I bring in three special contestants from the CFF world, and today joining me, I have three all-stars here. I have John Laub, Josh Chevalier, and Chris Battistel. I'm going to fix your guys' icons once you guys start introducing yourselves. That was one thing I overlooked in the pre-show here. But I'm just going to start off and do an introduction to myself. I always like to address things just in case we have first-time people that are watching anything CFF related, or if you're not familiar with any of us that are on the screen. My name is Joe Arpasi. I started my CFF work all the way back in 2008, and I was a co-host of the website College Football Geek, which was one of the first mainstream college fantasy football websites. John came in and was a writer for us for a while back when he was starting his work, and after doing that for 8 years, the site shut down. I kind of retired for 8 years, and then I came out of the woodworks in 2016. I created a brand new website called Let Purple Reign, as well as the podcast. Late last year, that was rebranded as College Fantasy Reign. So all of my work can be found at collegefantasyreign.com or at the College Fantasy Reign podcast on YouTube or Spotify. And on the screen, I have everybody's Twitter or X handles as well. So John, why don't you go ahead and jump in here and let everybody know a little bit about your background and where you come from while I'm fixing some of these graphics.
Oh, hey, Joe, good to see you, and good to have everyone with us today. As Joe mentioned, this is a challenge without any question. 52 teams, 12 rounds. I have picked 51, so I hope I have a breathing candidate on the board at that point who I can draft. Maybe he can get 12 points a week for me at the 51 spot, you know? So I'm looking forward to this. I've been playing college fantasy football for 18 years. Been working for Fantrax for 13, publishing fantasy football. So I love college fantasy football. It's great to be here with everyone. And, you know, I've worked with Josh and Chris so many times in the past. And, Joe, I've known you for a real long time. So it's great to be here with everyone today and enjoy the last week We have 1 week left. Next week at this time, it'll be week 0, baby. We'll all be working on waiver wire columns probably by then. But looking forward to college football next week.
All right, Chris, you are up, my man. Why don't you let everybody know who you are, what work you've done, and where you're doing it?
Yeah, Chris Battistel at FFChrisB on X. I am the token Canadian in this group. I'm currently with Jared Palmgren at Chasing the Natty on the Campus to Canton Network. I've been playing college fantasy football for quite some time now. Not as long as John, but again, I'm still a baby in this business. I had the opportunity to work alongside John last year, writing for Fantrax waiver wire articles, starts and sits. Had a great time, and I'm really looking forward. This is the biggest draft in terms of drafters that I've been in, so it'll definitely be a learning experience for me. Thanks for having me, Joe. I'm excited to take the belt back up or bring it back to the north.
It's close by. It's in New York. Last year's champion was in New York.
Oh, there you go.
So
bring it back.
We got to be looking out for Cuse. I forget what his handle is on here. Maybe Cuse44. He's the reigning champion. We got Josh, who's up next. Josh Chevalier. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody?
Hey, what's up, Joe? Thanks for having me on, man. Excited to be drafting with these dudes. John and Joe have done a lot of stuff together. Chris, this is our first time, and I was telling you, man, beforehand, like, I'm super excited to be doing this together. I'm excited to be joining all these drafters. I'm currently in this little sickos draft with Chris and Steve Jackson, who's also in this draft. So I feel like I'm well prepared for this. They take out the top 250. There's 24 drafters. You got the rest of the pool to choose from. So, dude, I'm pumped. I'm ready to take this belt. I do work over at Fantasy Points. I actually started with Mike Bainbridge, who I think probably Joe did work with you back in the day.
Yeah, there's three names that are still floating around pretty prominently in college football and college fantasy football. That's got their start in with us at College Football Geek. You have John, Mike Bainbridge started there as a writer, and Michael Calabrese. He does just general college football and sport betting. He also got started at College Football Geek.
That's cool. You guys just trendsetters over there. So that's how. So I'm a disciple of the disciple. Mike took me under his wing in 2015 when DFS started coming out with college football. Wrote about that. Lost a lot of money, but made other people a lot of money in the process. And then I quit writing for a little bit because I was losing too much money, and then came back in 2022 and started doing stuff with Fantasy Points, and been there ever since.
All right, thank you, Josh. What I'm going to do now is move ourselves down to the next screen, and before I do anything else, I'm going to have to keep for about 2 or 3 more screens fixing your guys' name labels here before I get going. I'm going to go over the structure of this draft for everybody watching here. What we have is, from a scoring standpoint, we are doing one thing that I like. I run in my home league that John is in. We do 0.1 fantasy points per pass completion. We do 0.5 points per passing yards, 6-point passing touchdowns, -2 for interceptions. For rushing and receiving, we do half PPR. And then for kick returns, we do 6 points for a touchdown. So that individual player, whether it's a kickoff or punt, will get that full touchdown. And then 2-point conversions are worth 2 points. From a roster standpoint, I've made this as simple as possible because this is a hard league format to play in. So I started from looking at the starters. We do a 1-2-3 format. 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 wide receiver tight ends. But we do not set starting lineups in this league. Everything is best ball scoring. So your roster max per position is just double whoever is going to score. So it's a 1-2-3 for those positions that score, and then your roster max is 2-4-6. To make it pretty easy that way. Like top half is what you get points for. And then in terms of doing claims during the year, we do everything by auction. It is full auction price, no eBay auctions. And then we run auctions every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So if you miss out on Tuesday, you can re-put in bids on Wednesday, and that gives us 3 rounds for 52 people, all trying to pick up waivers. The top guys are going to go, and then you might only get 1 person on Tuesday, so you need those extra days. So that's how we go through and we do the claims. Gonna fix our names one more time here. Next, then, I know, it's pretty funny, guys. For the schedule, the league layout, and everything for how it plays out. What we do is we have 4 divisions of 13 teams. Each of us special contestants are in one division, and then 12 subscribers over at College Fantasy Reign are associated to each other division. That way everybody gets a chance to play against one of us contestants that are here on the show today. Weeks 1 through 8 is what we call the divisional regular season. There's head-to-head matches in our fan tracks, but none of that actually matters. The whole focus is just score as many fantasy points as possible in the first 8 weeks. Weeks 9 through 11, the top 8 highest scoring teams in every division makes the divisional playoffs. So 8 out of 13 teams in every division makes the playoffs. Once it's the playoffs, your head-to-head matchup matters, and you have to win your head-to-head matchup to move on. So we start with a general best ball format, and then we move to a regular playoff structure. So that's weeks 9 through 11. Then weeks 12 through 13 is the league playoffs. We will have 4 divisional champions remaining. Those 4 divisional champions go head-to-head. Winner of those 4 divisional champions wins the belt. All right, now that we are at the draft screen, the names are correct. And what I'm going to do is jump in the league chat just to let everybody know that we're about to start it up here. And then I am going to have to do my deal to unpause it, resume draft. All right, now all of that's out of the way. We've got all 4 of our lovely heads up on the top still. Draft board is now down below, and I've got the group chat up from YouTube here. Steve Jackson says, sorry, John, you got stuck in my division. So that's from, was it? At CFF Jacko, if you guys recognize him. And also, while we're going through the draft here, guys, John, Chris, Josh, we're just going to be shooting and firing, talking about anything, talking about the picks that go off. But one of the things I'll kind of introduce for us to talk about, like last year, you have 52 teams that's going through. You're going to have a long time between your first pick and your second pick. Where would you rather draft in this draft order? Would you rather be in the first third, the middle third, or the back third of the draft order?
I personally would rather be in the first third, because I think if you can get one of those players who score over 20 points every week on average, right? You get a big-time quarterback, or maybe you get like Jeremiah Smith or Malachi Toney. When you have so many teams and you can just anchor with that type of player every week, I think that gives you a huge benefit. Doesn't mean you can't win from another spot, but you're going to have to find some nuggets later on in the draft. But when you get Arch Manning and he's just averaging 24 points a game, that's just a really big advantage early in this draft.
Yeah, I'm a middle third kind of guy, right in the middle. Put me right square in between the 2 bookended slots, back end, front end of the draft. I'll be in a sweet spot to kind of hit middle portion of my rankings. I trust myself being able to find value, especially in this size of the league, back end of the draft. If you're at the top, you have the advantage of taking a top valued asset early, but you're waiting a very long time for the turn. And then if you're at the back, you're missing out on those top ends, like top end players at the position, especially if you're like 52, 51, 50. You do get the advantage of the double tap, so you get the advantage of the turn, but then you're waiting a long time again. So put me right in the middle. Middle third for me is where I want to be.
Well, I can't follow in either of these guys' footsteps, so I'm going to take the back. I'm going to take exactly where I'm drafting. And I think for me, I've been running backs early all year, all season. And I think by the time that we get to that 50 or 45 to 60 range, you're going to start thinning out at the running back position. So I'd rather get 2 running backs than just 1 at the very beginning. Because by the time we get back to the first pick or the last pick in the second round, we're essentially 10 rounds into a normal draft. And so, I'm going to go. I'm giving out my strategy, but I'll probably go running back here early. Look, even
draft strategies disappear really fast in this format. I'm going to tell you guys that right now. This just becomes grab your guy.
Receiver picks.
It becomes grab your guy about every round.
That's awesome. I think even with 1 QB though, like I think you can still wait. It's running quarterback is just such a deep positioned unless
Yeah.
Brad Jackson just breaks everything, averages like 40 a game. Then we're all in trouble.
Pulls a Jaden Daniels.
I've been that type. I've always
Yeah.
liked the middle third. Like just because you have there's less picks, you have less of a weight between when you're making your picks, and so you're having to react to just whatever falls to you. So I like having a smaller weight in some of that window, but also I just think over the course of a long draft, it'll probably even itself out, no matter where you are. But I mean, it'll get really boring drafting on the edges and waiting for what could be 95 picks between when you get your next pick. So it really goes a bunch of different ways. And Steve Jackson had asked in the group chat, do you think differently about QBs in such a large format league? And I'm going to throw out my answer because I agree with Josh. There's a lot of deep quarterbacks. And whoever your second quarterback is going to be a spot start guy or someone that you're just kind of hoping has a good matchup when your main guy has a bye week, and it's one of those things of like, I think you have to find value at the quarterback spot, and really every position becomes that way. But because you only have two, you have to find value, and you take it. We have 52 teams. That's 104 out of 138 quarterbacks are going to be drafted. So there's not a lot of options that may pop up on the waiver wire compared to other positions. So I think you want to get yourself a good anchor, but I don't know how much you need to reach for those sort of guys. What are your insights?
Yeah, I'm not going to reach on the quarterback position. I mean, 30 points, 25 points. All I need is a guy that's going to give me a solid floor with the possibility of a high ceiling, and with the value you're going to get in the middle parts of the draft, so especially at the quarterback position. You're only starting one. There's no need to really chase top end production. With the 52-man league, give me the more high valued running backs or wide receivers before I start chasing quarterback. But I get the allure of having one of those top end anchors. But for me, I'm waiting.
Yeah, I think it's interesting too with the position limits. I mean, we know that 104 quarterbacks are going to go, whatever it is, 208 running backs, and then math isn't my strong suit, but however many wide receivers and tight ends, however many wide receivers and tight ends that are 300 or something like that, 312. So I think that's interesting. Just thinking through, okay, what are my top 200 running backs? What are my top 300 wide receivers, top 100 quarterbacks, which we are sickos. So we do have those rankings, but that is interesting to think through the strategy there of where is the positional value, right? Value over replacement type stuff like that. Is it very interesting in a league like this?
So
I'm
up
an
right.
Interesting pick just here.
Yeah,
Mario Taylor went off 15. So someone who's taken the early quarterback, that's a little higher than my ranking, but I could see for the upside in this, he could be a 30-point scorer, Mario Taylor. So I get it. That's, that'd be what, early second round? Most drafts I haven't seen go off that early, but I like it. I like the choice.
All right, Chris, you are on the board. I just made my pick of Jaden Baugh, and I had a hard time. I was leaning. I like going wide receivers early this year, and there's two guys I really like that normally I would take in the first round, but I want to find like a reliable anchor dude for my top guy. Chris has got about 20 seconds to make his pick. But I was bouncing.
I was really hoping I'd get Bond there, man. You really ruined my You really ruined it for me. Now I don't know where to go. Man.
I was getting sniped in the FSGA draft in round like 25. I'm like, come on, man.
But yeah, like I don't know about you, Chris. I was really looking at receiver because, a high end, I think where you have the biggest difference between those top end players this year and where and how soon the bottom falls off. I feel like that value's there at receiver. But we also know you can find a new guy that might pop off out of nowhere at receiver compared to running back too. So, but I still just played like Josh said, just get a good anchor number one guy on the team. And I stuck with running back for my pick. Were you considering receiver at all?
Yeah, I was considering a receiver. There's some good options on the board, but I've drafted quite a bit this year. The teams, and I wanted to mix it up to see how my teams would land up. A few of my teams that went wide receiver heavy, few of the teams that went running back heavy, and the teams where I waited on the wide receiver position and kind of attacked it mid to late rounds and went running back heavy at the top, they were just so much more well put together. I believed I had more of a shot to take home some of these leagues when I went running back heavy and scooped up some of this middle to back end wide receiver value. So I considered wide receiver. I was really hoping I got there at 117. I thought that would have been tremendous value. But I was focused on picking running back here. With no, I'm interested in how you guys are approaching it. With no designation of the tight end position, are you guys picking anyone out? Are you guys attacking the tight end position outside of probably the big 3 or maybe 4?
I will have to look at the value. I do think the top 12 tight ends somewheres would have value. I'm not sure if it'll be around 10, around 11. Like, I'd have to see the wide receiver board and compare it to the tight end. But if you get a tight end with 700 yards and 5 touchdowns, that might be better than the 180th wide receiver on the board. But I got to look at the value. There's definitely going to be value at tight end late, I think.
There can be. Last year, I kind of said, unless it's a top-end guy, I'm probably not going tight end. Like, I'll let them be a waiver wire pick for me. And a lot of people, that was an approach last year. But there's a lot of people who still would draft tight ends in there. And John has been playing in my home league forever. And
yeah, we don't have tight ends, right?
We do what this league does. We mushed them together with wide receivers.
Oh, well, that's okay.
So that way, we're not having that, deal with drafting a third or fourth tight end. We just go, we don't like him. So there was one shot fired here in the group chat. It was toward Chris, Jared Palmgren, because he was one of the special contestants last year. He said that he was the number 1 regular season team in the entire league last year. So you have big shoes to fill representing Chasing the Natty this year.
Huge. Did he win, though?
He did not
take the strap down.
He did not.
He did a classic Jared.
Hey, this is the other thing, though.
Oh, that's my co-host, Josh. Come on, man.
Hey, none of us CFF analysts won last year. It was won by a subscriber, so don't take these guys lightly. They subscribe to a great site, by the way, collegefantasyrain.com. Go subscribe today.
What a professional.
Nailed it. I'm just messing with Jared because in the Kings Classic, the guy just crushes it every year and he gets the playoffs.
I lost to John
he says that more than any of the rest of us.
I lost to John last year. I finished first place regular season in the Kings Classic, and then John just happened to pick up the one guy that won everybody's teams last year, Hawkins. So I lost in the semifinals to Hawkins.
He had Hawkins and Dickens, didn't you, John?
Yeah,
both,
my team was hot at the end.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
And I think I had Amari Thomas, too. He was very smoking hot at the end.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. I want to hear from Q's44 in the chat. I want to know what he's saying about how did he win? What were his strategies? What does his team look like? That's what
that's a good one.
If you're listening, Q's,
know.
you type it into the YouTube group chat, the YouTube video live chat. That's where I'll see it. That's where I'm answering questions. We also had Steve. And Steve, I never say your last name right. I'm terrible at names. Anyone who watches my podcast knows I cannot pronounce names. But Steve, our friend from RotoWire, he's in this league as well. He was the one letting me know of some of the audio issue that we now have fixed. But yeah, he's in this one, and he's a tough competitor. So yeah, Q's, if you're jump in that YouTube chat, let us know kind of what was some of the things that you did during the draft. And I'll kind of reiterate that to everybody else. And as I said at the start of the show, I always like to approach things for people that are brand new to CFF or have never come across my work. We did it with these guys, just in case you had never heard of them. I always like to cover things that might seem basic and elemental, but if this is the first time you've ever watched me draft, there is something that I do two things I do in every draft. One, I like to rock out, listen to heavy metal music. We cannot do that on YouTube. But the second thing I always do is I drink beer every draft I do. So in the Kings Classic, I was in there with a cooler and
he
one
put
headphone.
down like 9 in like 2 hours. He was crushing, bro.
Just like how I crushed that
beer
draft,
pong.
Josh.
Beer pong team. Now we know your secret sauce. We're on to you.
Hey, we just had an interesting pick. Pick number 27,
Oh,
Jamal
good eye.
Roberts at Missouri, man. Is he now a top
Big
2
ad.
round pick with that Ahmad Hardy news? You know, that's interesting.
Well,
John,
I'm gonna throw another one out for us to comment on too. John and I's old friend Rebel Nut, he drafted Turner from Pitt, and there's another one of someone's value who like rapidly could be changing depending on how those situations develop. Like, what are you guys' thoughts on both the Pitt running back situation and the Mizzou?
Like, you talking about is Desmond Reed coming back?
He indicated he wants to come back. I have not heard anything since then that he says he wants to come back, but I don't see why they wouldn't take him.
Anybody who wants to play for Narduzzi at this point after the Poppy Williams fiasco yesterday on X is nuts. I don't know if you saw that.
Catch that.
I gotta look that up now, but I didn't know
that.
I did not catch that.
Poppy is blaming the fact that he didn't get drafted or getting shot in the league on Pat Narduzzi because apparently in his like talent assessment, there's this character assessment that they do, and just Poppy did not come up great on that character assessment. And he's blaming Narduzzi for that. And so he's saying that Narduzzi threw him under the bus, and Poppy's like, I'm great. I'm a great human. And he might have some, self-awareness issues. That might be a problem for our boy Poppy. But I've also heard that
Jared Palmgren just threw in the chat. He said that Reed is entering the transfer portal, not signaling to return to Pitt. So that kind of eliminates that question there. Back to our original question with Mizzou and the situation. I think a great question. Let's say normal league formats, not this one. Are you drafting these guys? If you are, how are you playing it out?
I have not been drafting Ahmad Hardy since he had that unfortunate accident with the gunshot wound. Now, I did draft him number 1 overall in a best ball way back in March, so I was all in on him, but I've just been bypassing Hardy. I just now feel pretty comfortable. I actually moved him way down. I had him in that third tier, like 13 to 24 ranking. I moved him outside of that now because I'm not going to draft him. Roberts, I moved up. I think I now have him at like running back 35 or something there. So I like Roberts. I mean, hey, the person who drafted him here, that's awesome. He obviously must like him. I mean, to take him in the second round, basically, of a draft is ballsy. It's the right system, right scheme. He's got talent, but I don't think I'd take him that early.
I got to ask you guys, do you guys think that Hardy coming back mid-September, does that mean he's going to start practicing in mid-September, or is he actually playing in a game? I took practice, which scares the living daylights out of me, which means that he's probably not playing. And as the person that drafted him in the Kings Classic, I have so much regret, and I just need to apologize to anybody who saw that performance.
I don't think he's going to play in mid-September, Josh. I think that's like on the field, right? And then you got to get into football shape.
Yeah.
Right? You got to get hit. Right,
bro. He's not playing until middle of October at best.
Yeah,
at best. We touched on this on.
Go ahead.
Sorry, we touched on this on Chasing the Natty. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. Like, subscribe, leave a 5-star review.
There you go.
Shameless plugs here.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Shameless plugs.
Exactly. Everyone was hung up on the quote from Drinkwitz that said mid-September, but if you read the full quote, he said mid-September, it could be mid-October. They need 2 full weeks of practice, uninterrupted, without issue practice, before they even consider putting Ahmad Hardy back on the field. And when he does come back on the field, what does his workload look like? I doubt he's coming in and assuming the role that he had last year, where he's getting upwards to 20 touches, 22 touches in that aspect of Mizzou's rushing attack. So even if he was to come back mid-October, it's going to be a limited volume, and Jamal Roberts is going to allow him the capability to sit on the sidelines, because Jamal Roberts, even in the limited production he had last year, was almost just as efficient as Ahmad Hardy was, and he held a lot of the receiving work for Mizzou last year. So I'm not a Ahmad Hardy drafter. If you're in a league that has IR slots, then maybe he's a stash for a late season resurgence if he does get any kind of playing time. But I don't see him stepping on the field till mid to late October, if that.
I'll throw in there, I just redid my player rankings and projections, put them out this week, and that was a tough one for me to sit down and project actual stats for these two. It's easy for us to talk about things from a general standpoint, but to sit down and figure out how many carries is each dude getting. And I kind of played it out in my head like Hardy will eventually come back. He'll eventually work his way back into the RB1 at the end of the year. But then I sat there and I was like, but Roberts I still think will probably finish RB1 in fantasy points. But like, it's gonna be like this slow shifting of where it goes, and that was just the best guess I could try and take when I had to try and put hard numbers to it.
Hey, by the way, we had a tight end go off. Trades Green, number 42, baby. And I know
it's
Josh
not a bad auto pick.
Up.
I'm gonna say that. That's not a bad auto pick.
Josh is coming up at 46, baby. Looking at the board.
And while Josh is coming up, there are a couple things from the chat. We were asking about last year's champion, some of the things that he did. Some of the stuff was he had some good luck on the waiver wire. Like he drafted Sluka as his top quarterback. He had Moulton and Jordan as his running backs. And some of this is kind of flipping around. He was very heavy G6, and he had DeAndre Johnson. I think, and especially for pickups in this league, it's really knowing how to spend your points, because it does not refresh. Once they're gone, they're gone. I spent my points way too early.
Quick question. I'm on the clock. I gotta ask you right now. Are week 0 not counting towards week
week 0.
What are we doing?
So it starts week 1.
Okay. It's factoring into my pick here. I'm trying to figure out. Maybe I shouldn't say who I'm thinking of. All right.
Here's breaking news while Josh thinks. Daquan Wright is on the verge of becoming the first player from an NFL team to return to play college football, and they have him going to LSU.
Of course.
Are you serious?
That's
is it Chris Bald or
Duke Scott, nice pick there. And I'm going to say this for the audience. We do have a number of auto draft pickers. If you've not done a draft on Fantrax before, once again, they are one of our league sponsors. This is what their draft room looks like. And when you see a window that has a guy's name on the far right, if you see this little icon that's green, looks like a dot with 2 arrows going around it in a circle, that's someone who's not in the room, and they like preloaded their rankings, or they're using Fantrax's rankings and it's auto drafting. Like the Trades Green pick was an auto draft, that Hardy was an auto draft. So I just wanted to throw that out there, since some of this is coming up. And I had a feeling that we might have a decent amount of auto drafters. A lot of people were messaging me directly saying like, hey, I can't make it. Is it okay? But yeah, that Wright, everything Wright and Castellanos, where they're saying, oh, these guys could go here. And a lot of it is like, this doesn't make any sense. Well, I mean, right. like, is LSU really going to run that much 2 tight end? Seriously?
Yeah. Maybe now. I don't know
with all the receivers. I mean,
so
Daquan Wright ain't blocking. Yeah. So with Duke Scott, look, I think in this league, you got to go upside, right? You can't just, go for guys that are going to score you 15 points a game. So that's part of what I'm going through here. I was reconsidering a little bit, considering he has a week 1 bye, and he's a week 0 guy. So, you get him 1 less game. So I don't love that. But Duke Scott, man, I mean, this guy made the freaks list for Bruce Feldman. So, and I don't think there's much competition in that backfield. You got Dave Van Gauss, but that's about it. So I like him as a workhorse running back, getting him essentially 3rd, 4th round in a traditional draft, but here in the first and in this one.
Jared Palmgren like that.
I'm
pick.
up. Woohoo!
Okay, so all right, so both of you guys are toward the back end here in the draft. People were asking in the chat where you guys were located, and I cannot move the screen the way that I have my setup, so I can't like scroll left and right on the draft board. It just follows where the pick is.
Ooh, double QB on the back end.
John, you're gonna have to tell us what you're doing here. Yeah, double QB.
I love Mateer. I want to hear why you like him too, but go ahead and make this next pick too, and then fill us in on both.
Now I'm thinking, do I want double QB, but I can't give up the running back position.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to stay on brand. I'm going to do my guy, Dylan Riley.
Oh, I love it.
What do you love about both those guys?
Well, I love John Mateer because, I think he's healthy. I do think Oklahoma's better this year than they've been. I think the players are in place. The defense is there. I think Mateer has understands the SEC and the competition and the athleticism at that level. He was clearly injured last year. He came back, he missed one game and he returned and he was awful for like 4 games. He was clearly hurt. If you look at his last 2 or 3 games, he looked to bounce back. He was playing good football. I mean, we've all seen the pictures, right, of him without his shirt on this offseason at training camp and everything. He's definitely ready for the SEC physical nature of the conference. So I'll take the upside of the dual threat. I hope Devin Dampier. I was actually hoping Devin Dampier might fall, but I'll take Mateer there. So I love that. And in this format, I'm looking for some ceiling. Dylan Riley, to me, is the ultimate ceiling in best ball. He can score 35 points one week, and I get it. Next week, he might score 6. But I'll take that in this type of scoring format. So if you get lucky and one week these two men hit, they both score over 30 points, you're in really good shape. Obviously, you're going to take a risk. They might have a week where they each score 10 and 8 points, but I'm willing to deal with that and find some value later in the draft who might be a little bit more consistent.
One thing I like about Mateer, I've been big on the Oklahoma offense this year. When I saw him all jacked up, it told me 2 things. They put that muscle on him to keep him healthy, but also I think they want him to run, and they want extra bulk on him so he can take those shots. I don't view it as so he can be healthy in the pocket. I view it as so he can run like he did at Wazoo and be able to match, like you said, that physicality of the SEC.
Yeah, and I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, Josh, Chris, and Joe. We haven't been drafting Oklahoma running backs all year long, right?
No.
I mean, who's going to be? I mean, right now, if I look at the depth chart and the goal line, isn't Mateer going to be the goal line guy right now? So that's what we love, greedy quarterbacks at the goal line.
Exactly. Yeah. I love that philosophy. I want to get guys that are I want to get quarterbacks that have either questionable or bad running back rooms. And John Mateer totally fits that.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to, do we know the Oklahoma starting running back yet?
No, because they haven't all been healthy.
That's crazy, right? Like, I've been looking and looking and looking.
Yeah, potentially Lloyd Avant.
Josh, how many picks until your draft pick? You should be the next one up.
He went.
Oh, sorry, I missed that. I'm kind of loading the queue, and my eyes are kind of a little bit of everywhere while I'm listening here.
Yeah, no, I get it. I took Jaheim White for the same reasons that John Laub took Dylan Riley. Like, look, you got to go high upside here. I mean, you got a kid that's coming down from the P4 to the G6, and, I think Jaheim White could be their offense. I don't really see much more that they have there over at North Texas. And, all signs point to him being healthy heading into the season this year.
All right.
I like Jaheim White too in this type of format. The reports are good, right? Yep. He's been on training camp. North Texas is excited, so that's been good what I've been hearing out of him. Look at this quarterback run, by the way.
Yeah,
a lot of good quarterbacks in the second round. Here.
I'm staring at some of those quarterbacks right now as I'm building a queue up, and I'm like, this might be the value time to go there, or maybe I let it slip and I get the next batch of guys.
What's a Q in this draft? What's a Q?
Exactly. And I think
I put a Q in and I'm dropping down. I'm like, I got to drop down 30, 40, 50 guys to even think about a Q. There's not going to be many left.
Yeah, I'm mainly doing it because of the receivers. I got the way I load mine in, it's got tight ends and receivers mixed in. I'm like, I don't want to keep flipping through all these tight ends. Jared Palgrim wants to keep making it on the show because he keeps kissing Josh's butt for how great his picks are.
Great minds think alike. Great minds. We both choke in the playoffs,
Oh, that's pretty good. Oh man.
In fairness, Josh, anyone who's played this game long enough, you definitely get chokes in the playoffs that hurt so bad. You're like,
bro,
the
village sit here and share stories all night.
The village just took Hill, and I was really like, do I want to go big upside here for my RB2? Do I want to spread the wealth? That's another thing too. Do you want to overstack certain positions, or at the very top, do you want to start with one quarterback, one running back, receiver, and then kind of stack up? I think that's some of the interesting strategy behind going through this draft. And like for me, I kind of like to think, let me at least get a top one in each of those three vital spots. But Hill was making me think about maybe going back to running back.
That's a good question, Joe. I was thinking about that when I was my daughter and I got ice cream before the show. And in the back, I should be talking my daughter, but I'm thinking about my fantasy draft in the back of my mind, right? And
Telling on yourself.
I tell him, yeah. And I said to myself, I think I want a balanced approach in this type of, if you fall two behind, let's say you go 4 rounds without a wide receiver. I think that might be really, really hard to get a starter. You might get some lucky shots here and there, but that's just so I decided to go balanced. And I know early in the show, I decided I wasn't going to go 2 running backs at the end. I wanted to wait to see what quarterbacks were on the board. I wanted to go balance myself. So I think I'll probably give something away, but I'll probably go wide receiver at least in one of my 2 picks coming back around. It'll be a long way away. But I want something at every position. That was just my thinking. And so far, it's been all right.
All right, one question from the chat here. Are all of you guys buying the rise of Marcellus Hawkins this late in the offseason?
I have. He's been a good value. I mean, what am I getting him after round 10? Right? Starting running back in that system. The good reports. I mean, if I get value, I'm happy with that. So, yes, I am buying him, actually.
Yeah, I think it's a guy that a lot of us were on early, even in the offseason. I mean, we all saw him, liked him. Spring reports were that he was coming off an injury, so he wasn't practicing, right? If he would have been practicing, he would have been up where he's getting drafted now. And so once we got that confirmation that he was healthy and good to go, I mean, the advanced metrics, the size, the system, everything's there for him to be really, really good.
All right, Chris and I just made our picks. So Chris drafted Avery Johnson. I drafted Darian Mensah. Chris, why don't you start off talking about the pick that you made?
Yeah, I mean, he was just the last QB at the top of my bucket here. I didn't want to push the position too much longer, seeing how the draft was going. I'm always going to let the draft room talk to me and let me know where I should be drafting. I was hoping I'd get DeJuan Williams, but someone unfortunately drafted him ahead of me. So from that point on, I was just pivoting to the next man up in my queue, and that was Avery Johnson. No expert insight as to why I picked Avery Johnson, but I have him as a top 12 quarterback going into the year. His rushing upside plus the passing prowess that he holds in the Colin Klein offense, I'm going to scoop him up.
I mean, Colin Klein made Marcel Reed look good, so
there you go. Avery
wheels
Johnson
up for Avery Johnson.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I like, Chris, is that we've been picking the same position back to back here on these. One thing I wanted to do at quarterback, so these are players that are higher in my rankings, my updated rankings I just released this week that I passed on. I passed on Krill, I passed on Underwood, I passed on Sellers, and then the one I was debating was Mayava. But I decided I just want a steady Eddie, reliable dude. I may not have I'd rather have a really high floor with a limited ceiling than a potentially high ceiling with a potentially low floor. So I wanted stability for my QB1 because it's going to be a while before I get back to him. So I wanted someone, and I felt like Miami had the better support staff around than Mayava. But those were the two I was really looking at for that good high floor sort of quarterback to anchor that QB room for almost all the weeks that he'll be starting.
John, what was your reaction?
Yeah.
Oh, my boy went off the board. JKS. I'm in love with him.
with the points per completion, I mean, his value's got to skyrocket in this type of league, right?
The points per completion definitely changes things in this one.
Well, and 6-point passing touchdowns.
Yeah, those combined, absolutely. High volume pass attack.
And a great batch of receivers and stuff to throw to. So that was we've been talking about strategy and things. So do you start with a balanced approach? That's still kind of where I'm leaning. And then my thought there too was with that QB1, Caden Krell. So you got a G6 guy. How great is he going to be for you those first couple of weeks when the whole goal early in the year is just stack as many points as possible. Krell's a guy who'd be great for you in the playoffs. He's a guy who's going to help you win those head-to-head matchups. But early on, if you get not getting much out of points from him in the first 3 weeks, that hurts your chances to make the playoffs. At the same time, in one division, 8 teams make the playoffs, 5 don't. So it's a very generous way to try and keep a lot of people involved in this format so you can keep playing throughout the year. But that was my approach for why I went quarterback and where I went on that one.
Joe, I got to clarify with you real quick.
Mm-hmm.
You keep saying 6-point passing touchdowns, but in the league rule summary,
It says 5.
Oh, sorry, 5. Sorry, my fault.
So
5.
what are we?
Okay. It says in there 5. Thank you for saying that.
Okay.
I forgot about that. And I've had a million things I've been setting up today.
Okay.
Yesterday, I was chaperoning my wife's family, all female members of the family, around the lake on the boat, playing boat
Nice.
captain all day, and then herding cats at the end of the night. So I had a busy 24 hours.
Welcome to high school teaching.
No, exactly.
Welcome to John's life.
Yeah, exactly, John. John, I've been in those classrooms before, man, and my master's is in education administration. I know exactly what you're talking about there, and it's just like I was just sitting there. I was like, oh yeah, but part of that rule, where it originated, was from my home league that John's in. Is how do we find a middle ground to try and balance out passing quarterbacks and running quarterbacks? So the idea was, and we vote on every rule in this league, so we have to have a majority kind of all jump in and say it. And so if you do bump the passing touchdowns, instead of all the way up to 6, you can do it to 5, but then you throw in that little bit of points for completions. That was kind of one of those thought processes that came out of how do you find that perfect balanced blend of maybe balance the two types of quarterbacks out. So,
the other thing I want to say, I never answered about Hawkins too, which is interesting. For all you can say about James Franklin, and I can say a lot of things about James Franklin, I will say when he gets a running back, over the years, James Franklin running backs have been good fantasy assets. So, I mean, if you look at the guys he had when he was at Vanderbilt and Penn State, so I think he's in the right scheme too, even though I can say Franklin doesn't win the big game, right, Josh? But his running backs do produce in general fantasy points.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially, I mean, look, they have some good other options with Bill Davis. You got Jeff Overton that's still there, rising sophomore. But even when they've had 2, I mean, they've had 1 that is always relevant. So Katron Allen, if that's the role that Marcellus Hawkins is going to have, that's a steady Eddie right there. I like it.
And going to the ACC is it took him some time to really recruit those top-notch guys to then be able to you could put them in the lineups for most weeks in the Big Ten. I don't think it's as big of a hill to climb in year 1 in the ACC as when he first came into Penn State.
Oh, I don't think it is. I think that's a pretty decent conference for him to climb in. And I was reading, Virginia Tech has talent in the surrounding area. If he can recruit the top level talent in Virginia and West Virginia in that area, he should be able to build. Look at the Penn State team was loaded with talent. I mean, he's obviously a great recruiter.
Just didn't know how to use it.
He just didn't know how to use it. That's all.
Well, stop and think about the state of Virginia. Here's all states that they are close to that they can very like a 2-state hop away, sort of a thing. New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Tennessee, Kentucky, South Carolina. They could go as far as South Carolina. There's a lot of good states. Yeah, New Jersey. They can really pull from a good area.
Yes.
For any of you guys that play college football 27, that's actually the little area I look at finding schools because they're so close to places. Is schools in South Carolina or Tennessee or North Carolina. Virginia would be my most northern school because I want to recruit down in Georgia and Florida. So my sweet spot is South Carolina for where you could be located geographically for talent. So just throwing out a little video game stuff there too.
There you go. And I think with that, I mean, when Virginia Tech was in their heyday, they were recruiting the beach area, right? The Tri-City, Hampton Beach, Virginia Beach. That's the Mike Vicks of the world come from there, right? They were crushing. There's a lot of talent Northern Virginia, where I'm from, ain't that much football talent. But,
Mhm.
but you get down to the beach area, bro, and those kids are crazy athletic, crazy good. And Franklin goes there and locks it down. They're back.
All right, so I'm going to jump in here. My pick's coming up. Chris is right behind me, so I'm going to jump in and just announce kind of where I'm going. I am going to stay on my balanced build approach here, and I've got one wide receiver all lined up. I absolutely, if I can snag him, the news has been huge on him. I like the upside. If he's
now you
taken,
got me interested.
If he's taken, which he's not now, but Yamar Knight and him potentially being the huge volume wide receiver one in this offense. And Kevin Jennings is progressing faster from his finger injury. Like, if I'm trying to find a really high ceiling wide receiver, which I don't mind my wide receiver bus compared to my quarterbacks, I'll find other wide receivers. Yamar Knight might be that kind of home run swing. So that's where I went there. Chris, you decided to go for a second running back. Go ahead and fill us in on your pick.
Yeah, I've just taken out a page out of my co-host Jared Palmgren's book here, drafting CJ Miller, following his coaching staff from Mercer to Toledo. Just a giant mass of a human who runs fast. You get him going downhill, and CJ Miller is going to be a problem. I wanted to make sure I locked up at least two, how I see it, high-ranked running backs, and I got those two in my room with Avery Johnson. That was pretty much the thought behind picking CJ Miller. I had a couple other wide receivers that I was looking at, but I feel like some of them will be on the board on the way back for me. That doesn't mean I'm going wide receiver. I'm just saying if they're there, I'm taking them.
All right, I'm going to take a look in the chat real quick, guys. See if there's anything here. Steve Jackson's cussing me out for not knowing the rules of my own league. That is 5-point passing touchdowns. Yes, guys, I get it.
I was hoping Andrew Marsh fell to me. He was at the top of my queue for wide receivers.
He I think was number 3 or 4 in mine when I made my pick there. See here. Not seeing a whole lot of other things as I'm trying to skim and do this stuff, guys. And also, too, if I'm pausing and not talking, and we get a little break, like, you guys just go ahead and jump in and throw out a question or just start talking about whatever. Because we're all also trying to manage, like what our picks are coming up. And, Chris, like, the two of us, we definitely could be taking over because I know, like Josh and John are going to be making their picks a bit sooner. But,
wow.
How late would you... Sorry, go ahead, Josh.
I want to ask you guys a question with Keelan Russell. I mean, we just saw him go in the 3rd round, but now he's the official starter.
Yeah.
He has been 10th to 12th round in normal, leagues. What are you guys doing with Keelan Russell now? I mean, the hype out of Alabama, they're all like, he's a top 3 SEC QB. And while I would love that because I like him, what are you guys doing with him in CFF?
I moved him up yesterday morning. I think I put him in my top 24, which makes him top tier 3 for me. I think I put him at like 18 or 19. I had him outside of the top 24 when he was in the battle for Austin Mack. I don't want to reach for him because I think one thing he's still just a sophomore, right? And we've learned this lesson so many times. These young men need a little time to develop. Last year, Lenoris Sellers. Now, I do think Alabama's the right spot for him, but I'm not going to overreach for him. However, I do see the ceiling in Kalen DeBoer's offense. I think their wide receivers are pretty good, right? I don't think they're as good as the heyday with Nick Saban, but I think they're all right. I would like to get them at a value, and I think the hype is a little, probably too much for me, Josh. I got him early in a couple best ball drafts back in March or April, so I'm okay with that. But I think I'd put him at 17 or 18 if my memory serves me on my rankings right now. I want him as a number 2. That's what I want.
Yeah, I think that's a good spot for him. His legs are going to be a compliment. He's not going to be this true dual threat quarterback, but he's going to have a high volume of passing as I see it in this Alabama offense. He's got the pieces around him with Coleman Williams, Lotier Brooks. Derek Meadows has been getting a lot of praise through Alabama camp. We know that they're going to be a team that's going to be looking to score a ton of points, stay competitive in games. There is a possibility that he throws for over 3,000 passing yards. Does the touchdown volume get tied to that passing volume yardage wise? There's a good possibility that happens. And if he gives you anywhere between 250 to let's say 450 rushing yards and maybe 4 to 5 rushing touchdowns, there's a good possibility that Keelan Russell ends up as a top college fantasy option. So before the news, I had him ranked at quarterback 39. Now after the news, that has solidified that he's the quarterback 1 for Alabama. He'll enter the top 25 for me. Where do you got him, Josh?
I mean, I haven't made any adjustments yet, to be honest. I'm just taking in the news and kind of letting it play, but I'd probably put him in my top 15 to 20. I think around where John's got him. So not crazy, but like you can't deny his upside.
Oh yeah,
really interesting. But we don't want to draft. The danger is drafting a guy at his ceiling, right? And I think that's the danger with Keelan. You might have somebody in every draft that's going to do it, but I think if you can keep him in that, I love drafting him in the rounds 10 to 12. That felt QB2. Those felt like great ranges. Yeah, and I don't know if I would go too much up on that because I was already pretty high on him.
I had him as my QB.
Has anyone noticed we've got a bunch of tight ends who've been drafted? Like 7 have gone off the board. The top 5 are long gone now. So my hope of value at the tight end is kind of been erased. I don't think that's going to hold up. But a lot of tight ends have gone off in the last maybe 40 picks.
I think those tight ends, a lot of the auto draft teams, they're just kind of they're getting picked off that way. And to wrap up the Keelan Russell, I think I had him in my QB 35 before. I'm trying to look up like where I have everything set up. And if I was going to look at probably where I would put him, like there's a difficult thing. In my tier 3, I have a balance of guys who are good ceiling picks that have really good projections. So you're talking about, drafting someone at ceiling versus drafting a high floor guy who I don't project as high. And there's a good mix of those guys in that one. So I don't know off the top of my head if I would put Keelan Russell all the way up in that 3rd tier. Like the last 2 guys in that 3rd tier are Byron Brown and Sam Levitt. And part of me is like, I might put him above them, but then the top 2 guys in my next tier down are Kevin Jennings and Caden Beltcamp. So like I kind of feel like he's right on the border of those 2 tiers in my rankings. I just haven't put enough thought into exactly where he'd go, but it would be a tier 3 or tier 4 for me.
Okay.
Nice.
I get it. Now, I also like the fact we were talking about there's not a running back in Alabama that I like either.
Well,
right?
That's healthy. That's to like.
Yeah, I mean, every time I look, another Alabama running back is going to the tent, right? The medical tent. So that does make them interesting. That's why I do have them in that 15 to 20 range.
Jared Palmgren did throw in the for Russell. He moved him up to QB 15 on his personal rankings. For those of you guys that are brand new, I keep saying Jared Palmgren. Once again, if you're brand new to college fantasy football, Jared Palmgren, he's the co-host of the Chasing the Natty podcast, along with Chris Battistel, which I just realized I've got the names wrong here. And he's also part of the Campus to Canton team of guys there. I believe he's the CFF editor, or I forget the exact title, but another one. The man, but Campus to Canton, another one of these great websites for finding college fantasy football work. So whenever I mention Jared or Jared Palmgren, that's who I'm referring to, guys. And he mentioned, so like I said, he moved him up in his personal rankings to QB 15.
Me and Jared are just agreeing too much today for my liking. So
I'm liking
we
it.
have to do a show together where we only disagree soon.
I'm liking it. I'm not worried about you in the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, Josh's pick is coming up here. So,
and I'm feeling the heat of not taking a wide receiver for the last 100 picks.
Or a quarterback.
Oh, I'm not worried about that still. But Hilton Alexander was a guy that I was just looking at, I got to be honest, because look, I mean, it's kind of thin. at the wide receiver position, and I think I'm gonna skip it again for reasons I cannot explain to you with any rationale. But I'm gonna go Roderick Robinson here, just real quick.
Yeah, I've been staring at him on my board.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm gonna go 3 running backs here. I'll probably wait for the last one because then I'll max myself out. But man, wide receivers getting thin.
You need to draft 6. 6.
Yep.
You have like Brett Norfleet as your wide receiver 4.
Something like that. Something like that. And Audric Harris was the other guy that I was like waiting on there. So you can see them go really quick.
Where you going, John?
So, John, go ahead.
No, so I have 2 wide receivers in my queue. I'm going to take the chance that CFF football there does not go double wide receiver and take both of mine. So I'm going to go King Miller here, the running back, because I like the high-end upside with the touchdown equity. I think USC's offense is going to be unbelievable. That offensive line. Aren't they returning at least 4, if not 5 offensive linemen? So let me see. Oh, he didn't. Oh, he took Cam Edwards. That was my other running back. So my 2 wide receivers are on the board here. I'm going to take Reed Harris of Arizona State. I don't want to be devoid at the wide receiver position. I do like this Arizona State offense. I think they're going to be competitive this year in the Big 12. So I'll take Reed Harris. So I got a little bit of balance. I got my 2 running backs I'm happy with, and I got at least a receiver I think I can count on every week.
Nice. And I know you've been talking about King Miller all year over at rookiebigboard.com. Also, I want to mention this in the description below of this live cast. I've got the X handles and links for all 3 of my special guests today. For any of the YouTube channels, I've got them linked on there. For Josh, I have the Dynasty Points page for the college football podcast, where you can find all that podcast stuff on there. So all the work that they bring up and that they talk about, you can go find it very easily in the description below. And getting back to like what you did there, John, on the Rookie Big Board, you have been hyping up and talking about how much you love King Miller all off season. So when I saw that pick, I was like, not surprised. Not surprised.
Yeah, I was wondering if he would make his, what is that, pick number 149 or something. But I wasn't sure if he'd make it back. And I get it, Waymon Jordan is back. I understand that. But I think King Miller's the guy near the end zone. Jaden Mayava isn't the type of guy I'm worried about as a quarterback from the end zone. And I think King Miller's your closer. I think Waymon Jordan is the pass catcher. They're going to put him in the slot. I think they're going to put him in pass routes. I think King Miller's the guy who gets 20 carries a game between the tackles and hopefully scores once or twice. So I do like him. I think USC is going to be really good offensively. If their defense, if it can just be okay. like how many times have we watched those Trojans over the last 5 years and it's Olay in the secondary? Guys are wide open. Like if their defense can just be okay, then they can run the ball in the 3rd and 4th quarters.
And Josh, you made your first wide receiver pick there, and it's a guy who's wide receiver 2 at his school, but I like the interesting upside with it. Why don't you explain your pick of Chris Barnes over at Oklahoma State?
Yeah. Look, I mean, Chris Barnes is a guy that I think, especially in this best ball format, where it's just ceiling, like he could have some weeks. He's going to have some weeks where he scores 5 points, and he's going to have some weeks where he scores 20, 25. So I like the boom weeks potentially from Chris Barnes. We'll see. Again, like I have this entire draft, I'm going to go upside. And, to borrow what John talked about earlier with Dylan Riley, kind of same theory. And you'll see it with all my wide receiver picks coming up. Hey, Joe, I'm actually going to have to hop off here. I got 4 kids that are waiting for me for dinner. And
all right. It's chicken nugget time.
Thanks for having me on, man. Oh,
hey,
yeah.
Thanks for being with us.
I'll be in the chat. And,
all right, guys. All right, take care, Josh.
There. All right, man.
See you, Josh.
Yeah, see you guys.
All right, we'll wait till Josh is out of our little chat here before I switch the screen. All right. Now, faces lined up. We no longer have any name issues because Josh isn't on here. All the pre-production stuff I had to do last minute. We are coming up on Let's see here. Chris, how many picks? Oh, we're 20 some odd picks away, so we got some time
Yeah.
before ours. But I've been watching. Obviously, people are going to listen to what we're saying, like for Jared does on his Sunday mock drafts. Like, you start saying something,
Yep.
people are listening.
Yep.
I'll just at least say for myself, you can choose how close you want to keep your cards to the vest here. But for me, I'm kind of looking at some of these things, and like my gut says I want to grab a running back. And as I look at the players that are still available, I'm like, I think I can wait maybe even 2 rounds before coming back to that. Wide receiver, I'm seeing some decent value and guys where I'm like, that might be a place I want to jump at. And there's still some pretty good quarterbacks sitting out there. A lot of them have been going this round, though. I'm watching those quarterbacks just start going poof, 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 poof off the board. So my attitude toward quarterbacks might be changing as we speak. Yeah, it is literally changing as we speak. Where are you kind of looking at? Like, is there anything that's kind of interesting you more than others? Just if you're going to talk general position wise and not specific players.
Yeah, it's wide receiver with having the 2 running backs and Avery Johnson already at the quarterback. I'm probably going to lean towards wide receiver just to get at least one that I feel like is going to give me some top end production. I might not have them ranked overly high, but that's only because the guys I have ranked high have been picked apart in this draft. There is I have about a handful of quarterbacks that I'm considering here. With the scoring constructions, 5 points per passing TD plus the bonus for the completions. There's one guy that's really standing out for me.
I know who that is. I know who that is.
Okay.
You have the biggest man crush on him this year.
No, it's not. It's not him.
Not him.
It's not him. It's not that guy.
Not that
if
guy.
Anyone who follows me knows exactly who you're talking about. But that's not the guy that I want to bring in. He is part of the handful of quarterbacks that I have in my queue. But as of right now, I think I'm pointing towards the wide receiver position because I don't know what's going to be there in the 5th round for me.
And that's something I'm looking at and that I'm kind of struggling with too. Is like you only get 2 quarterbacks. It's really easy to reach up and to say I'm going to lock down that room super early, but then like that's it. And one of them, like, so you get a super really good QB2 who's going to spend the majority of his time on your bench.
He doesn't go into your lineup, right?
Well, no, well, sorry. What I mean that is like only one of the 2 guys will score.
Yeah.
So it's like, because it's best ball scoring no matter what. So it really then becomes like, well, man, I think for me that QB2 is just finding a sweet spot of who's on the board, who do I kind of like, and it's not going to be a name that you would normally draft. That's the other thing that I remember that from doing last year's draft. Like your QB2 is going to be lower than you probably would ever draft, and you just kind of need to find that Goldilocks zone of what's just right. You're not reaching too far. You're not letting it slide too far. But also, quarterbacks, I would say you do see quarterbacks pop off during the season. So that is one of those positions that you could like save money for out of your auction budget to try and grab early on.
Yeah, I agree. Man, this draft is killing me.
I'm continuing to try and load these deep wide receivers into my queue here.
It's just like gone. I was like, man, I have to wait way too long for a pick. This is bananas.
Well, I've got right now, I just secretly put in 14 guys in my queue, but I scrolled way down to get those 4. I'm going to assume there's going to be no value. That's how I'm looking at it.
Like I'm using my queue.
What to do here?
Yeah, I'm using my queue just to put wide receivers only because in the player rankings, the way that I'd load them up is that it goes like in every tier of my rankings, it goes QB, wide receiver, or QB, running back, wide receiver, tight end for tier 1. Then the same thing for 2 and 3. So all the tight ends are being pushed to the top of my rankings as this draft goes on. So I'm like, I don't want to look at those tight ends. So I'm going to go over and just keep loading all the receivers into my queue, and then I could just view the regular players. Chris, you are on the clock.
I know. I'm so torn on what to do here. I'm stuck between 2 guys. I'm stuck between a wide receiver and a quarterback. Looking at this board, there's a couple teams ahead of me. There's one team ahead of me with 2 quarterbacks, so there's a good possibility. Oh, I'm just gonna go quarterback. I'm gonna go Noah Fifita out of Arizona. Just the passing
I
volume.
put him in my queue. I thought he might be the nice pick.
He is a super solid pick here.
Super solid.
Yeah.
Man.
And like for me, like he's a perfect guy for this league format where if he's that second quarterback for you, your first guy has a bad week or a bye week, he's going to be a steady Eddie, or he could have a halfway decent week. Right now, as I'm looking at my receivers, I have one guy I believe is the wide receiver 1 at USC. May not be that way at the end of the year, which is making me want to pass on him. So I'm going to go with a guy from a team that I think the potential upside of this Marshall passing game, I think, is huge. Norton is the unquestioned wide receiver 1. ADP does not matter at this point. You just, I said, like kind of the draft strategy is grab your guys. And their schedule is juicy. Baconfield, who also goes by Elliot Mays, he is a part of the Fantasy Points team, and he's the co-host of their podcast. We talked on the side, and actually it was over at the Fantasy Expo, and he was like, man, I love the passing schedule, strength of schedule for Marshall this year. So I was like, you know what? This is earlier than I normally take him, but I'm going to go for like with Knight. I'm going to go for 2 huge potential upside wide receivers back to back there.
I'm just hoping I get a starting wide receiver at pick number 200. Might even be pick 250, actually, whatever it is back there.
Well, and that's part of what we brought up at the start of the show. Like the more I've thought about it, and like I'm going to be balanced at the start, and then you play value, because at least you've got a top dog at all 3 positions before you're trying to play the value game. Versus like, you can try and stack up, but once again, especially I think people that stack quarterback super early, like those first 3 rounds, 2 of their first 3 picks are quarterbacks, like. Once again, was coming up here on the left. I can't see exactly the full team name, but they got Jaden Mayava and then Hoover as their second and third picks. One of those 2 guys is going to be not accounting for any fantasy points every single week. I'd rather get in my top 3 picks, hopefully guys that all 3 can be accounting for fantasy points. So that's part of why I like the balanced approach to start this, and then try not to overextend yourself too much. But I think what's going to get really interesting later is you're going to be getting like a running back 3 where like they're flyers. They're guys like that, and it's like where does everyone start going once you start getting to flyer territory? And that's where I think the draft gets pretty interesting and fun, or frustrating. If all those, because you're only used to, like, in a normal draft, you're like, I always look at these 3 or 4 guys. Well, they're all gone. Well, who are some of the deep flyers? Well, shoot, I never look. I only do 30-round best ball or a redraft league. So that's one of the fun about watching this is you're going to see a lot of names being drafted here. And the strategies around where you go and what you do is going to be pretty interesting. And as John said, he's going to be coming around 200 picks. He doesn't have a wide receiver yet. And he has
No, I have 1.
Oh, you have 1. Okay. But I was about to say, like you got to roster 6 of them on your squad.
That's the hard part.
You have just as many receivers on your squad as you have as you have quarterbacks and running backs combined. It's about a 50-50 mix there. All right. I haven't seen a ton of stuff except for Jared saying, go wide receiver, Chris.
Yeah. I should went wide receiver there, but yeah, I probably should have went wide receiver. But I think the guy that I was eyeing is going to be there on the way back, hopefully. But yeah, who knows, man? This draft has been very interesting.
Candyman on the sorry,
like
go ahead.
6th or 7th round. If we're doing a 12-man, what round? Would
12 rounds. So it's going to be 12 rounds.
No, if we were doing a 12-man draft right now, what round would we be in?
About 15.
I was about to say, thank you for asking the teacher. I've been drinking. Don't make me do math. But
it's been very interesting.
Because each round is about 4 rounds, Chris.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
There's that math.
Yeah, 4.33, roughly.
Yeah.
roughly.
Yeah.
But I noticed here,
I
Candyman.
gotta hop off. I
You're
apologize.
gonna have to hop off as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to hop off here. Thanks for having me, Joe. I'm looking forward to the season. I'll send you my address so you know where to send the belt.
Well, you know what? You got to earn it first. But hey, thanks for being on the show, Chris. It's been awesome.
I appreciate you guys. Have a good night. I'll be in the chat and I'll be in the draft room, of course.
Have a great night, Chris. Good season ahead.
See you guys. See ya.
All right, hang on. All right, now it's got down to just John and I on the screen. And John, one thing I was going to mention is I looked up, and Candyman is a guy who's auto drafting, but the auto draft took Ivy, and I was sitting there on that last pick going, do I want to shoot for a potential, that wide receiver one at San Jose State? Do I want to wait? Like, I went with a guy who I felt was another high ceiling guy, but like a more stable situation. Okay, I don't think I have any shares of San Jose State wide receivers because I feel like people reach too much for them this year. Okay. This is a draft where that kind of doesn't matter as much, but like, do you really want to reach for a wide receiver 2 and completely whiff? So that was one of my worries about when I was looking at a potential San Jose State receiver in my last pick. I was like, I'd rather get a guy who I know is at least a wide receiver 2 at worst, but likely their wide receiver 1. So it's one of those things that kind of jumped out to me here. And what's up? The guy who's had the very first pick, heavy wide receiver build. So he's got 3 wide receivers, only 1 quarterback, 1 running back so far, but Keywan Lacey, like he's got a really good one. So it's interesting just like looking at some of these different team builds as we've been talking about strategy and where you go. Excuse me. And we got our pick this up right now, not 1 wide receiver yet. Here, no quarterback. Jackson Arnold. There's an interesting one. It's an auto pick. Would you want Jackson Arnold as your QB1 right now? I can't say I would.
No, I mean, I would not be happy in that scenario, but I understand you're at the mercy of the auto draft.
Exactly. And I mean, I recently in my last rankings, I was like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just gonna put Orgy as the QB1, and it's a competitive one. Like the way that the news has been coming out, I almost feel like you'd be better taking a really like a last QB on the board pick at Orgy than trying to get Arnold where he comes off the board. So that's obviously auto draft's gonna do some things there, but let me see here. Steve Jackson just commented in. Pick out a specific team that you like. The start so far. And then Steve was just commenting about the Arnold pick there. But like the worst part, I cannot scroll. So for everybody to understand, the way that I can get all of this to fit on screen and to make it all work where you watch it, but also to make like the picks themselves to be zoomed in on this board because it's so wide with 52 picks, to get it zoomed in where it's good to read, I literally cannot scroll left to right to review teams. That's one thing that's a limitation. But what Steve was asking us, John, was like, is there any particular team that you've really liked so far? Or even if it's a particular team build style. I'll throw that one out there because my eyes have been everywhere. I haven't been evaluating each and every team.
The hardest part about doing a live draft as the participant doing a show at the same time, I have enough of a challenge looking at my own queue and trying to figure out my own strategy. And now when you're, like you said, looking at 52 teams, I can't really say. I mean, I would not have started with 3 wide receivers. If you look here, Team 9 and Team 5 both started with 3 wide receivers. Oh, so did Team 22. I don't like that build. Also, it's only half-point PPR. So I think you're taking a massive risk at the running back and the quarterback position by starting 3 wide receivers. Now, if they all smash in a given week, you could have a great upside. But Joe's on deck. Joe just picked. Yep. So, Joe, tell us why you picked.
Yeah, so I'm sitting here, and I it's been a while since I've gone running back. I need to get someone who I know, like they're going to be in the top half of my room. Like 2 out of my 4 are guys I feel like I want to hang my hat on. I'm looking at more safer floor at running back than higher ceiling. And I went with a guy who we know is going to be number 1. We don't know how quite good that running game will be at North Carolina, unfortunately. But with Hall from North Carolina, I'm like, I at least feel like this is a good safe pick compared to some other guys that are out there. There's some other players I like more. There was one I had ranked higher, but I feel like he might slip. I can maybe make him my running back 3. So it really was just like I said, I'm trying to take a balanced approach. And right now my team is 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers. I'm not going to overextend myself too much. And getting back to the start of the show too, when I asked where in the draft order would you prefer to draft, and I kind of mentioned in that middle third, it allows me to just be flexible and to react to what's happening on the board, which then if you're building a balanced roster, it plays into that same approach. So that's a lot of my thought process behind the draft pick there, even though I've got my eye on receivers quite a bit. Like that's what I'm watching mostly, and then flipping back over to running back right now is kind of where my eyes are going.
Yeah, I'm looking at the wide receiver board. I had hoped that Cyrus Gaines was going to fall back to me, but I mean, it makes sense that he went this early. I would have loved to have the 2 Boise State running backs just in case one gets injured, or if the week in which Gaines scores 3 touchdowns and Riley doesn't get in the end zone, I could have had him. So, but I do, believe it or not, I don't think the wide receiver tight end board is completely devoid. I actually see some players I like still. Now, I will say last round, I was hoping that Jordan Faison would fall to me, but he got picked, so I didn't get that. A lot of the tight ends are coming off the board. I was hoping that I could grab one of my top 10 tight ends. I think my top 10 tight ends are all gone. I could be wrong, but I think they've all come off the board at this point. So I was hoping to get a little bit of value at the tight end position, but they're gone now, so I'm going to have to dig deeper at the tight end position. But I definitely think now, how many we can draft? 4 running backs, right, my friend?
Yes, so 4 running backs total, 2
6.
quarterbacks, 4 running backs, 6 wide receivers / tight ends.
That's what I thought. So I'm going to have to draft a wide receiver at least on one of these 2 coming back around. Then I'm going to see the value at the running back or at the quarterback, what's there for me. But, we'll see where are we? Pick 33. I'm pick 52 in this round. So I'm just waiting. I got, right now I got 13 players in my queue. So I'm okay with that. I'm looking at the players. There are some here and there that are interesting too. Still, I mean, I don't think you might get lucky with the player, but I don't know if there's like an elite game changer at the running back position right now.
No, and a lot of part of when you do a big draft like this is, and this is such a great resource for if you're trying to find late round boom or bust guys, is that this is where you're going to go, where those guys are going to, you're going to see more coverage of names in this sort of a draft with those players than you are in a 30-round traditional best ball, because we have to go so deep. Like right now, I'm trying to load another queue of wide receivers into the queue because, as I said, they're mixed in with my tight ends, and I'm kind of ignoring tight end. That's what I did last year, and mainly
Steve took my running back.
Steve never snipes people.
All the time.
All the time.
When you can't even get a UConn running back, what are we talking about here?
But yeah, it's one of those things of you're gonna.
And hello, Steve, if you're out there.
You're gonna get to a point where you're drafting flyer guys, but because we can do transactions, you know that you can drop people and make adjustments, and it's just you don't want to be so light at one position when that happens. And you mentioned the running back position's kind of there. I do think there's still some guys that maybe where I went with Hall was okay, maybe not the highest ceiling, but maybe a better floor sort of guy. So, how many picks is it until yours comes up?
Oh, I'm about 10 picks away now.
10 picks away. Well, I'm going to let you look at some guys, and let me check the chat here to see what else stuff might have pulled up.
And And
Chris,
unfortunately, all these demons out there are taking my running backs.
we're only in round 5. Only in round 5 of 12. Chris had mentioned that he got the receiver that he was debating on when he made his Fafita fit pick. So it was a pretty good play for him there, getting some value with Fafita. And Steve Jackson complimenting Steve from RotoWire, the roster he's putting together, and Steve from RotoWire puts together a great amount of every time I draft with him. We draft with him in the Kings Classic. John, you don't realize this. I just brought him into my home league. He's one of the new people in the home league, along with Brandon Lepper, Rand University. So like we're gonna have to face him in the home league too.
My God, he took my tight end.
Oh, all right. So John's on the board.
So I'm going to go my most boring but lovable wide receiver, Trent Walker. I love guys like Trent Walker in this type of league.
And you're doing what I was talking about before. Maybe not the highest ceiling, but a good high floor sort of pick with him.
Yes. Now I have to think, where do I want to go? Do I want to go value? Do I want to go running back? I see. So I'm pretty balanced. I want to talk about one thing after I make my pick here too. I'm going to go Mel Brown, Colorado State. And I wanted to say what was important. What I was thinking about the quarterback position. It's very important in this type of draft. You have to have different bye weeks at the quarterback. Like I really like Nico. He didn't last to me anywheres, but I noticed that he has the same bye week as John Mateer. So I could not have drafted Nico and Mateer. So when I'm looking at the second quarterback, I have to make sure I take someone who doesn't have the bye week number 5. But I'm pretty happy with my balanced approach. I got 2 receivers who I'm happy with, Reed Harris and the boring Trent Walker. I just want that solid floor, 10 to 12 points every week. I'm happy with that. And I like Mel Brown at Colorado State. I mean, it's a little bit risky maybe, but, in a giant league like this, I'll take a starting running back who I had confidence in last year at UConn.
Nice. And that Colorado State situation is one that's pretty interesting too. I still don't know if there's going to be a bell cow or if it's going to be more of a 60-40 split, of those top 2 guys. So it's interesting in my eyes where it might go. But like when you're constructing your roster too, I'm kind of viewing it this way, like that top half, I really would like to secure the top half of each of my positions.
Yeah.
Before I start to double up, but at the same time, you now have to start playing like dried up wells that are drying up, which I'm looking at the running back position. And part of my mind's thinking about that too, of like, I don't love some of these names, but if I wait, like I may not love any of them, and on my roster, where am I at? I've got 2 of 4.
I got 3 right now, so I need 1 more, but I'm okay with that. Now, unfortunately, everyone, I need to take a bathroom break, so I'm gonna I'll be right back.
Go ahead and step aside.
About 4 to 5 minutes, and I'll be back. Joe, you got it. You got it, my brother.
I've got everything. I'm not going to change the screens. Just we'll just have your empty chair there, holding the spot for you.
Oh, I'll put my name.
Oh, your
up.
name. That's perfect. We'll put your name there. That'll work.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
All right, guys. So John went ahead and mentioned those sort of items. I am 20 picks away, and as I was starting to say, I'm kind of looking at the running back, and there's a huge running back run going on right now too, where it's just like I'm kind of debating grabbing a guy just so I can at least have 3 of the 4 guys that I kind of like, and if that 4th one's a complete dart throw, that's fine. I'd rather not have half my running back room be a dart throw, because I just think that, once again, this room's drying up very quickly. Whereas there's a number of guys I would grab as a backup quarterback. Like I'm one of those people, I will probably wait quite a bit to get my second quarterback. And then I was mentioning before, and I didn't get to a point to explain it. My attitude's been to stay away from tight ends. And I'm just going to give a good example. Right now, if I look at, based on my current updated player rankings, I'm going to round up what Fantrax has for these players is projected points per game. So it's not mine. But at the tight end position, 6.8 points, 6.5. 4.9. Oh, shoot, I cannot see those from the queue window, so I'm going to have to scroll here and find the top 3 receivers, what their points per game are that Fantrax is calling for. And I'm going to tell you, these first 2 guys, I am way higher on than other people. So I have these guys pulled up, but their points per game based on Fantrax, 10.2, 9.9, 10.1. The problem I find with tight ends is unless you're grabbing like an elite tier 1 or 2 guy, how many times will they actually score 10 fantasy points in a week? It's going to be very rare. So that tight end's just going to take up space versus constantly just trying to find a guy maybe that pops off on the waiver wire, and you need some shiftable pieces that you can do to go through and try and get that guy who like, ooh, okay, I found a difference maker here during the year. And even if you're holding on to someone who is on that borderline, it's a lot easier for a receiver to hit 10 points per game than it is for a tight end. So I'm very anti-tight end because of that. And so I am about 14 picks away. We had some wide receivers go, and like I said, guys, my eyes are kind of going a little everywhere. We had a huge QB run, and now it looks like wide receivers are starting to pick up. Checking our live chat here, and Steve from RotoWire says, I feel like I have to be more strategic about bye weeks in the draft than in any others. And that's a pretty good point, just like what John was saying, of keeping your eye out on bye weeks. For me right now, I've done a poor job of even checking them, to be honest with everybody here. I really haven't checked them, but as soon as John mentioned it, I flipped over to my roster and I went, oh, I've done pretty good. All right. but when honestly, when you're drinking, you do that sort of thing. Chris was hoping for to get DeAndre Rogers, who just went off the board a little bit ago. See here, I'm 7 picks away. Steve Jackson is on the board right now. For any of you that don't know Steve Jackson, he does go by, I'm forgetting every kind of handle he has, but SJ Jacko, but he did start up a brand new Substack this year. He posts a lot over on X. He's doing some really good work. Go check out his stuff. Go check out what the Steve and the rest of the great team over at RotoWire do. They do some great work over there as well. What's great about college fantasy football is it's growing for people's interest to want to play. There's also a lot of great voices to go listen to. Obviously, I want everyone to subscribe to my website, but I want everyone to have the best information they can get, which is why I love to bring up any sites that I've come across or people I look at that I talk to, that I see, and I'm like, hey, they're putting out really good work. I want to help promote them because the more good voices that are out there in college fantasy football, the more it's just going to help our market grow as a whole. So that's one of my thoughts, John, and we've been watching this market grow for a long time. I forget when, maybe it was the early to mid 2010s you first came into College Football Geek. For some reason, my head wants to say like 2012 or 2013. Does that maybe sound about right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the year now as the years go by, but I would say that's about the time. I mean, somewhere's around there. I would say between 2010, 2014, but I don't.
That's what I was thinking about.
General vicinity.
That early to mid, yeah. I can only remember the exact year I came in because I know all of the years and where I was coaching. When I was coaching college ball, then I dropped out of college ball, took roots in Indiana, and then I know the couple of high schools. So like I can line up when I started the CFF stuff because it was right after I stopped coaching. And what I'm looking at here, guys, I'm going to grab my third running back because this well dried up. All these names I hope fell to me didn't. So I'm going to make one of the boringest picks of this draft. I'm going. I just don't know if there's that many like super high ceiling guys. So I'm just going to go low floor, safe play with Samuel Harris. Like I said, maybe one of the most boring picks out there, but I just feel like a good, when you have a leak in a dam, you just need to stick something in it to make sure there's no more water going through it. Like, that's just the way I'm viewing that one. Like no one's ever going to have a dominant running back room, but Harris will be, especially like in conference play, he'll be a good, reliable, steady Eddie. And then it just leaves me that one last running back spot that could just be rotated out from week to week. Maybe I find a good guy and he hits. Maybe I don't.
Yes, and I would say Sam Harris is in similar bucket to Trent Walker. Nothing wrong with him. He's not going to win you the league, but if you get your 10 points on a week and he's in your starting lineup, that matters, my friend.
And he gets a good matchup, and maybe he gets 15. Like who knows? But you're not always going to be able to count on your running back 1 and 2. So he's kind of like that guy that you can plug in on a bye week or a bad matchup for your top 2 guys to be safe while you're then shooting for a big upside guy with your last running back. And if you hit with a big upside guy on your last running back, well, now Harris can be your guy that gets cut as you keep playing for, the waiver wire, for claims and pickups. So that's like I complimented you on Walker. But like Sam Harris in a normal draft typically just doesn't go because he's a low ceiling guy. But for this sort of a format, he's that perfect guy to slip through the cracks in the way that I view it and the way that I've kind of view how I prioritize these rosters and how you would make your moves.
Yeah, and I think Wyoming's going to be a better football team this year. And we know that Wyoming in general wants to play defense and run the football. So if they have that good defense, and they've been very good, I believe, the last couple of years, Sam Harris complements what they want to do on the defensive side of the ball.
All right, I'm kind of looking over here
and my quarterbacks in my queue have been picked apart, everyone. I do not appreciate all that.
I was just looking between quarterback and wide receiver, and I'm like, because I don't mind waiting. Here's one of those things to realize too, John. 48 of the other drafters are all subscribers to my website. They see every single guy that I really love. Like there's nothing I'm hiding from. And I'm just saying, like, I love some of these wide receiver guys that are out there, but they know every single one of them. I'm not hiding anything. And I just released, I also released my rankings before this too, because I wanted to release a deeper rankings that people could use to help them in this. So it's like, I look at some of these wide receiver names, I'm like, ooh, I like taking shots on some of these guys. I know I can wait, but then at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. These guys might grab them all up because they know how I view them. And that quarterback position, it made me flip back over that quarterback position and really start rubbing my chin going, do I need to strike at quarterback now? I'm not sure.
So Brett Norfleet, another tight end I had in the queue, went off.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's anything left. I'm looking for tight ends here. And
there's not going to be much. Like I said, I mean,
no, the value is gone.
I will say this. Your top value picks based on my player rankings are Randy Pittman, SMU, and Hunter Andrews, Utah. Those would probably be your 2 best. Max Dowling, if you want to take a dart throw. I'm a little more down on Hunter Tipton than other people. Mark Bowman, I think, could be a boomer bust with so many targets and that other talented guys in that USC offense. I don't know how high or how capped Mark Bowman's ceiling is going to be this year. And then you're getting
God, I just put Jaden Lamar in my queue, and he just went off the board.
I was about to say, and then at tight end, you're starting to get in the category of Decker DeGraff. Do you really want him? In this sort of format. So that's why I said before. I'm like, I don't know if there's much in the way of tight ends. Like I said, I've just kind of been like, unless it's a top dude, like Trey'Dez Green, like in the top, let's say 5 guys, yeah. But to get them, they're going to go so high. That's why I just scratched him in my head of like, nah, I probably shouldn't have even had him. What I used, and for anyone that's new to my website and content, with premium subscribers who get full access to my rankings, I provide you with a Fantrax player upload file that has all of those rankings. You can literally just go into your ranked players. I give step-by-step instructions, and it just uploads everything that I have posted on my website. And you can then, everyone's in the order waiting for you in your draft room.
Hey, Joe, I got a question.
Yeah.
What if we're all wrong on Christopher Vizzino at Clemson and he's okay? What does your projection say about Vizzino at Clemson?
Oh, I'm glad you asked because I don't remember. Because that's a situation where I don't know.
It's a tough situation, but
okay, yeah,
he's the starting quarterback.
Well, hold on. Was he officially named?
From everything I've read, I don't know if it's official, but everything that I've read, he's the starter.
Because, like, as I've been reading through fall camp, that this has been a QB competition that's literally been neck and neck all fall camp is what I've read. And I've not read one thing of, like, one guy has kind of taken a lead. So
you don't even think if he's not named the starter, then you don't even think he's worth drafting.
I mean, I've been staying away.
Okay.
But because
I haven't drafted him once either.
Yeah.
But this is a different league right now. This is 104 quarterbacks are going to be drafted.
Ugh.
I'm just wondering. That's all.
Well, no, I hear you, and it's one of those like, what just is a telling thing to me is that he's been the expected starter since the start of spring. And then the news in fall camp has been things are neck and neck. Okay. That worries me that it's been that tight this long.
All right.
You know what I mean? Like because you would expect the guy to finally, like, you hear news like, oh, in the last scrimmage, he played much better than the other guy. And when those things aren't popping up, that to me is a red flag, which might mean buyer beware, stay away. My pick is coming up next year. I know who I want to grab, and I think I can wait. And so right now, I'm just kind of sitting here, and I'm looking at a certain position group. I'm looking up and down, because this one's drying up. And I'm looking up and down. I just don't know. Do I want to draft chalk and grab the guys I love? How much risk do I want to take? And I'm going to double check. I'm actually going to double check my bye weeks here. All right, I'm on the clock now. I'm at the point with wide receiver. I don't care about ADP or anything else like that. I'm more so thinking about who has a more secured position in the offense to try and take away some risk. So I'm going to go with a guy who I believe is a clear number one at Oregon State. Not a great team. He's probably going to get a crap ton of targets. How many touchdowns he gets, I don't know. But to round out the top half of my wide receivers, that's where I'm just kind of looking at. I don't know if there's a lot of safe guys I want to take a shot on that are in this group. So that was a tough one as I was looking at that versus the other position group that I was debating. I feel like I could probably wait. So it's the reach up and grab, like Cuse 44 just took the one guy who I had ranked higher. I can never say his name right, but Iliatala, I think, is actually the real. If Ashlock was healthy at Hawaii, Iliatala, I think, is the guy who is the actual wide receiver 2 there.
That's a good pick. I wanted Mekhi Denzi. Damn, that's a good pick.
I don't think Harris will be the wide receiver 2 like most people think. Credit to the G5 Hive. I remember watching their episode on Hawaii, and the more I listened to their beat writer talk, it sounded like, no, you got this homegrown kid who's been growing and building. He played a lot, but like not a lot of stats. And they're like this guy's a good breakout performer versus, oh, well, here's a guy who never really did anything and didn't play much, but he just happens to come from a bigger school like Washington. So Iliatala was the other guy I was debating, but it's on an educated read from what the G5 Hive, the beat writer for Hawaii, said on their show versus Xavier Noland, I think, is dead locked in wide receiver 1 at Oregon State.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think. Oh, I'm still 20 picks away.
20 picks away. I know. Like this, normally when we have more than just two of us, it helps with banter. You know what I mean? Because we're trying to decide what we're all going to draft. I am glad I went receiver because there's a big run right now.
Yeah, I wanted Casper. He was in my queue. That's a nice pick. Danzy was in my queue. Mm-hmm. Hunter. Brian Rowe is the one I really wanted. I was hoping he'd fall to me, but he just went.
Are you looking more for safe floor or high upside? And is this going to be what, your wide receiver 2 or 3?
3.
Mm-hmm. So are you looking more floor, upside, floor. A balanced mix?
Floor.
Okay.
I like this format. I don't mind floor right now.
And I went with a combination of the two because it was more of a secured, locked-in wide receiver 1 for a guy who, I forget every school that DeMarcus Russell has been either an offensive assistant or assistant offensive coordinator at, but I think it's been like Washington State, Western Kentucky, Washington and Alabama with that same coaching staff. Like he's Purdue. I forget who he was at under Purdue. He was there before he joined DeBoer's staff, but like, I feel like they're going to throw the ball. Like they're going to look like what you think of a Kellen DeBoer team. So I'm like, you got to lock, so I'm like, targets wise, I think there's a good floor. That was kind of my play, my floor play on that one. And we are seeing a lot of wide receivers go. So a lot of the guys that I thought, like I was saying before, I think I could wait on, but 48 of these other people drafting all know exactly what I think, and I've watched a bunch of those names just all go poof, 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 poof off the board. But once again, like what happens when you're doing a live draft like this?
Dom Henry was the top of the board. He just went.
So there's at Bobby and the rest of the handle I see that they're on YouTube. I'm just gonna kind of leave that off, but he's making Bobby here in the live chat saying Audric Harris is 100% wide receiver 2. If Ashlock is playing, him and Mackay have been friends for 10 plus years and went to Gorman together. That is one part that's been out there. I'm gonna be the guy. I'm gonna swim against consensus. I've been planting my flag on Uli Alada. I know I'm saying his name wrong. Anyone who watches me knows I'm terrible with names. I'm going to go with the homegrown guy, I think. And I heard something. My old coaching ear heard something that made me just think this is the guy. But that's why I didn't take a stab at him here, because I still see that there's risk involved. So, Bobby, thank you for that shout out about Audric Harris and the connection there. And Chris mentioning the Max Dowling. He liked the fact that I brought up Max Dowling if someone was going to try and reach for a tight end with some upside. And then who was it? Jared Palmgren mentioned Ulatala. He doesn't have very good stats. That's where I had mentioned the thing that I noticed about him is he played a lot, but he was kind of like that rotational guy. So he didn't have a lot of targets and a lot of stats, but they were talking like he's that guy who like every year his development like growth rate has been high, and like this should be that year where he could be breaking out. So, but once again, I'm a against consensus. And the last comment I was going to bring up from the live chat, Steve Jackson mentioning that he has no power 4 players so far in this league through, I don't know if he's made 6 or 7 picks so far. My eyes have not been following every pick on the draft board right now. But right now,
most of mine are in the P6. I have one. No, our power 4. I have one G6.
I have 3 G6 and 4 power 4. So I have kind of a balanced mix, but most of every top person I took was a power 4. And then it was after that I started going into the G6. So kind of a similar philosophy that you see with a regular redraft format or a best ball format for college fantasy football. Max Dowling went off the board. It was an auto pick, Chris, but he went. There you go.
Where'd he go? Wait.
There, right behind Greendale. And Alberto Mendoza, like he's been hanging around with the quarterback position. That was one guy who I've been looking at those quarterbacks. I'm like, there's some guys who can slip, but I want to see. I think I could keep waiting.
And look at Josh. He just sniped me with Josh Bowick. I wanted him too out of Oklahoma State. Justin Bowick.
Locking down that room.
Nice pick, Josh.
Yes, and with the Joseph pick from East Carolina, he's a guy I've been grabbing in a bunch of drafts. I've not been tracking all the players I've done in mock drafts and everything this year, but I know he's been a top guy I've been going after quite a bit at the wide receiver position. So you're coming up here, you're on deck. Why don't you go ahead and take over and let us know what you're thinking and as you get through these two picks.
So I am thinking about a quarterback, but I get lucky. The guy right behind me is taking 2 quarterbacks, so I don't have to take it here. I'm going to have to take a wide receiver. And in this format, I want to have a quarterback combo hookup. Because if you get lucky in that 1 or 2 weeks, it can make a big difference. So I've been reading great reports about Jermichael Carter at Oklahoma. So I'm going to team him up with John Mateer so that I get that pass-catching dynamic duo. Now I'm probably going to have to go quarterback here, coming back around, because my cue has been taken. But I was lucky because C football had taken 2 quarterbacks, so I knew he couldn't take a quarterback.
Yeah.
I had wanted Caton Hauser, but he just went off the board. So there's one last quarterback. And I have 2 that I like. Now, the problem that I have is, do I go for upside or do I go for boring and consistent? And because I have John Mateer, I think I'm going to go upside here.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking upside for my backup quarterback as well, because in any given week, if a quarterback is hot, you're going to need to be willing to let go of your quarterback too, to make a move for him on the waiver wire. So I do like shooting for upside, and I have several quarterbacks that I'm looking at, and I'm bouncing between 2 positions in my eyes right now for where I might go on that one. How many quarterbacks? I mean, obviously, you're probably looking at one of 2 guys, but like, are there more than that you're about to consider?
There's only 2 that I like.
Okay.
I guess there's 3. There's another, but I don't like the third because I already have a Boise State. I like Maddox. I like Maddox. Madsen is a boring player, but I already have Dylan Riley. So now I'm going to take, this is going to be a home run or a strikeout, and I don't care. I'm going to take Luke Weaver, San Jose State here.
Gotcha.
I've been reading good reports. I think San Jose is going to be pretty decent this year. And Weaver has won the job. I think they announced it earlier this week, correct?
I think so. I've been posting so many updates on Twitter that like I don't go back and start to re-review my notes until like Monday when I'm getting my stuff ready to film the podcast. And so like it just becomes a giant mush in my head until then. But I think he has been, but there's been like several different things with the San Jose offense I find interesting. So number 1,
ooh, Tony Diaz is Josh, you're killing me here. Nice pick.
That does not surprise me. He's been high on Tony Diaz. The news has been high. I am just
very good news.
But I am just of the attitude of I'm going to treat an Iowa wide receiver like I treated a Tony Franklin Penn State wide receiver, like I treated a Georgia wide receiver, and just no is my attitude. Just stay away. No. But getting back to San Jose State, going all the way back to around the spring, the talk was maybe there's not going to be that single solid dude, and that maybe you just kind of like the number 1 and number 2 are a little more closer together. Then we have news about Weaver playing really well, and then I've been seeing, it might have been, I'm going to say within the last 5 days or so, like, is this San Jose State offense ready to commit to the ground game more? Like, there's so many different things popping out that makes me wonder, like, could it be like less just totally throwing the ball? Maybe they do focus on the run a little more, but they're trying to be a little more balanced so they can have more efficiency in the passing game, which would be good for the quarterback position. And with the pick that you made, that like it's not just always throwing into coverage just expecting you to throw, that the defense has to play more balanced run-pass idea. It's something that I've just noted in my head, and I don't have any general thought on it. I've just observed it and I've noticed it. But when they talk about, like, they think that they might run the ball a lot, we got a great running back room. I do hear a lot of coach speaking that too. They're not going to become a 45, 50% run team at all. But if they do get that ground game going more, and it is more of a threat, like, I do think that's a great pick for you there, because if he can be more efficient, play action really wasn't a threat to a defense before. If it can be, that'd be great for Luke Weaver.
Yes. I mean, yeah, I'm just hoping, I guess I'm hoping that the Spartans bounce back a little bit in their passing game. And Luke Weaver, at least he started games last year for Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
And I think even though it's hard to find out which San Jose wide receiver, I think they might spread the ball around. I think there's enough talent where he could be successful.
I'm going into the group chat here. I'm 18 picks away from mine. Steve Jackson agreed with my assessment about certain wide receivers to avoid. He said Joe is correct. Say no to drugs and Iowa wide receivers. And Steve from RotoWire said he was considering Weaver before he settled on Boley. ASU has 2 wide receivers that everyone seems to love, so Boley has a decent year, right? With a question mark. Versus we're all guessing at this group of San Jose State wide receivers. So I kind of see the point he's making there. And any offense in the Big 12 is always a good bet to have, which Steve Jackson was bringing up as well.
I mean, Boley was in my short list, so it's not like I think I've drafted Boley a couple times as my 5th quarterback in best ball leagues. So I'm not against Boley by any stretch of the imagination.
I'm at this attitude where I'm not exactly sure what to expect from Arizona State.
I agree.
So
I think their wide receivers are good, so Boley should be good.
Well, what we've seen over the recent time here is that they've had a quarterback that when he's healthy has been good. Now we're seeing a quarterback change. They got some good wide receivers to go with that. In the past, they've had a good dominant running back, which has made defenses have to focus on the running back. There's parts of me which are like, we could just still see some of the same, or it might just be everything overall just gets watered down by 15%. I don't know which it is, but there's a gut feeling of like, we just don't have enough history with this current coaching staff to know, like, well, you take away those couple of key pieces. Is everything going to kind of fall down? Because if they don't have a running back, if they have 3, like they're rotating 2 to 3 running backs that just are kind of above average, and Boley's just above average, how much do those wide receivers help you? That's been some of these thoughts that have been bouncing around in my head all summer long. I don't think I've drafted anyone from Arizona State, to be honest. Not that I don't like them, but it's been general kind of worries and concerns that I've had. And as my picks coming up here, if Cuse doesn't take another guy that I like, there's one position group that I'm like, there's only 2 players I really like left. And after that, like, I just see the bottom falling out so hard that I'm going to do a big reach by, if you want to call it ADP standards. In a draft like this, ADP doesn't really exist, but I'm going to do a big reach as long as one of these 2 doesn't get sniped ahead of me. And Chris is going to be making his pick beforehand, but I just don't want to wait. One of these 2 will fall to me now. I just don't want to wait one more round. And now the real big question, both of them are sitting in my lap. So big upside is where I'm going to go. Anyone that watches Diary of a Draft Man knows I love this dude. Both these running backs, I also want to say this. Regular ADP is going about the same time. I'm passing on E.J. Crowell from Alabama as that possible good upside freshman. I'm going with the next big slot receiver out of Navy. The guy that, like, he's not going to be as good as Heidenreich. He's been typically the last running back I take in almost every draft. But for me, it was Robinson out of Navy or Crowell out of Alabama. And after those 2 are gone, I just really didn't like anything else. So I just said, I'm going to close out my running back room there. And Robinson's a guy that if he doesn't pop, I don't mind dropping him. E.J. Crowell's banged up. We may not see what he actually does for 2 to 3 weeks, and it's going to be really hard to want to drop him if a guy pops off. So that was part of my thought process to make a big reach and just grab my guy and close out that room where I did versus where I think I'm going next, who that guy I really want is also the like normal ADP is right in the same number. But there's other guys I wouldn't mind falling back on, and Q's44 took one of those other guys I was saying I wouldn't mind falling back on with JC French. I think JC French is a great QB2 in a format like this, and green eggs and ham, I'm guessing. Hillstead's another guy that I really liked as a great quarterback too in this league format.
Yeah, I wonder if there's anyone without 2 quarterbacks now.
I don't yet.
You don't?
No,
okay,
that's what.
sorry.
So I'm talking about these other QBs, and Trilly, how dare you, Trilly? Dickens was the guy I was crossing my fingers that I could get. Oh man, and Dickens is the bigger name, but part of my thought process was if I don't get Dickens, I have other names here. Those running backs, it's like I really don't like what's left after those 2 running backs. I was really praying. Dickens was the guy I was anonymously hyping up that I was going to try and steal in the next round. So good pick, Trilly. Trilly also, Trilly Betts. You might know him online or on X. He does awesome player prop coverage. I don't know if he's specifically tied to anyone, I don't remember if Fantasy Points might have brought him in to their team. Just the hard thing for me to remember is I think both Fantasy Points and Campus to Canton just recently made announcements of new people that they brought into their player props team. I just can't remember who might be who. In the chat, if you guys know, go ahead and throw it in there. But yeah, Trilly sniped me early there.
Wow, Bishop Davenport was still on the board.
And that's like there's some decent QB2 picks if you kind of wait right now. Okay, so Trilly did go to Fantasy Points. That's what I was thinking. He did join them recently. So with Josh, the guest that we had on earlier, he's joining Josh's group over at Fantasy Points. And with him and Elliot Mays, Mr. Baconfield, that's a really good player prop combo that they have over there at Fantasy Points.
Very good, very good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just looking right now, the wide receivers. I'm 52 picks away.
I know, you got that long wait. I at least have half of my wide receiver room. But once again, the guys that are going to pop up the most that you can find, through transactions during the year, your best bet is wide receiver. So if there is a place that you're having to take super dart throws, like we do in this league, at least it's at receiver. So that's like the one good thing there for you. You can swing and miss. Like at this point at wide receiver, I like to use the phrase, just be the great Casey at bat. Just hit a home run or strike out. Don't try and get on base like Pete Rose. or Tony Gwynn. There's another great one to bring up for guys that were great for just getting on base.
Ooh, that's a good pick, Landon Chambers, this late.
Mm-hmm. And
so he's got his first team's got his 4 running backs. He needs wide receiver too. Oh, and maybe another quarterback.
But some of the interesting things here that a lot of people are doing at the running back position is they're targeting running back 2s in certain offenses, which then becomes the like, hey, if they don't end up being the running back 1, or they don't maybe get so Overton at Virginia Tech. I'll use him as an example. At Penn State, Franklin always would kind of rotate 2 guys. So there could be a healthy workload for a running back 2 in certain systems. Washington, typically not. We see Lamar on the screen there. It's an even battle right now for that running back 1. So that's like a coin flip for who could be a running back 1 versus an Overton. There you're taking a stab on a running back 2 who maybe could give you value. Like other systems where there's good value in a running back 2. Again, the top one off my head would be Louisville. We're grabbing, like, that's not a play for a guy who could be running back 1. There could be value in running back 2. But I'm noticing that just kind of looking at some of these names like Nelson from Nebraska, him and Rule, like who knows exactly how that's going to play out.
Yes.
I've got 8 picks to mine. So I know what position I'm locked in on. it's now just going to be a matter of, let me double check my bye week. And okay, that takes one.
Bye weeks matter now.
Well, I think it matters. Receiver, I don't think it does, because so many guys you can just drop. Quarter, like the smaller, the like running back and quarterback, I pay way more attention to here. So one guy I was looking at was considering. I got a bye week issue there. Like I know the number one guy I want, and he should fall, but that would be a boring pick, but it would work.
Here.
Yeah, they are. And I knew there'd be several auto drafters. So that was 3 of the last 4 picks were all auto drafters. Well, and I'm not sure, like, do I want... Dickens was a high upside guy I didn't mind swinging after. I almost don't know, do I want to take that same big risk? Would I rather just get like a milk warm guy that should just be all right? So I'm going to get one of these 2 guys that I'm debating, and I'm still debating right now between Aiden Childs at Northwestern and Will Crowder at Troy. Will Crowder's kind of that just lukewarm, but he should be a really nice kind of plug and play guy.
No, I like Crowder if he stayed healthy, though.
Well, and the other thing is, I'm going to take Childs, but like none of us really know how good he's actually going to be in this offense this year.
We don't.
But I talked about my idea was to wait and find value for that wide receiver, that quarterback too. I wanted Dickens. I lost him, but part of why I said I was just going to reach for a running back where I did is I knew I still saw guys like Crowder, Childs. Who else was it that I was debating? Tavian Jackson at North Texas I was looking at as a possibility. Mitch Griffiths at East Carolina I was looking at. Reese Poffenberger at Akron. Like there's names out there that if I only need them potentially for 3 weeks, like that's why I don't mind waiting on that quarterback too. Like JC French right here for Cuse. He's a perfect quarterback too. Like I think he's an absolute perfect one.
Jalen Rayner is a nice shot here.
I just don't know how well his play will be moving up to the Big 12 because he was never a strong passer in the Sun Belt. I agree.
That could be hard.
Yeah, and that offense as a whole, I've just been down on it because if I don't have good background stats and I can't kind of come up with what I feel would be, and I'm always conservative in my projections, if I can't come up with a conservative projection that I have at least some decent faith in, I tend to just steer away. And that whole Iowa State offense, I just don't know what to expect. Do not know what to expect.
So I have no idea what to expect out of them now with the coaching change, the roster turnover.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way, I think, to figure out what they're doing right now.
Yeah. And I'm checking the... Steve Jackson said Nolan James is a steal. He also said...
I think so.
Bye week management. Kim plays UMass on Missouri State bye. Missouri State plays Sam Houston on New Mexico State bye during EMU bye weeks. So like talking about... I haven't gone all the way into pulling up my schedule matcher tool that I have available on the website, and you can even download it to work offline. There are too many players and too many teams to try and do this real time, especially while hosting a show, as you know. You guys at I am brain farting right now so bad. Help me out, your co-host over at Rookie Big Board, Steve.
Oh, Matt Hicks.
Matt Hicks. I was going to say Steve Hicks. You know what I was probably thinking? Stevie Nicks. That's probably why I said it. But Matt over there, like you guys will do live drafts. You guys host the Kings Classic, which if you have not gone and watched over on the Rookie Big Board channel, go over there, subscribe to their channel, check out that Expert League draft that we did, because every one of us that's drafting in that comes on, but that room is chaos while the draft's going on, and the two of you guys are doing such a great job of juggling all the moving pieces. So, I understand, and you know that too, to pull out a tool and to be able to say exactly which player that you have and the other ones and their bye weeks and which are available. I'm an Excel guy. I probably could, if I wasn't doing all this on camera, probably could use filters and do that real quickly. But when I drink beer like I do when I draft, I know I couldn't.
Well, I remember probably like 15 years ago when I would start listening to live drafts and I would say to myself, oh, it can't be that hard to do a live draft. Man, after you start recording live drafts and trying to draft, it is very challenging. Let me just say that. I respect anyone who does live drafts because you're going to miss players in the queue. You don't have the minute to double check or look over certain rankings necessarily. So it does make it hard. So it's very hard, but you get better at it, but it is
Yeah.
more challenging than people think.
And the format of the show today is more like the type of shows you're talking about, where we're talking about all sorts of different topics. I'm keeping my eye on the live chat.
Yes.
The mock drafts I normally do are very different. For starters, they're solo. So it's you talking or nobody else, which makes it very difficult. And then the other thing is that, like, with my draft, the Diary of a Draft Man series, for any of you that are new to my brand, College Fantasy Reign, and this YouTube channel, Diary of a Draft Man is my mock draft series. But what I do that's different is I don't talk about, like, the pick of Rusk here from Arizona. That's a good pick because the value you get, I'm not reacting to what's happening on the board and talking about those things. I am talking out my thought process through the whole thing. I'm saying this is where I'm drafting. I'm talking it out, each and every step of it. Going through, I don't do them live so people can't steal my picks. But then also, like, I have my player queue underneath. So it's a way to, like, pick the brain of someone who does this. Excuse me. Had a little burp that couldn't get out. But any of you that are, like, brand new to college fantasy football and you're like, I don't even know how to approach this. I take that different format where you can watch a couple of those shows and you'll start to hear things and you'll see how what I'm looking at in the draft room that we're in Fantrax right now, one of our league sponsors. So, like, you can see how I flip between the different things in their draft room and what I'm looking at. And I talk out, okay, well, if these guys are here, I'm going to do this. In this position, I'm doing that. And it gives you more of a pick someone's brain approach versus commenting on the action as it unfolds. The only commenting for me would be something like, Daryl Robinson there, yeah, okay, we can't get him. He was one of the 3 guys we wanted, so now we have to go over here. So it is a different challenge for the live drafts that I do, getting back to that topic of hosting them. But I can record it. I'm not doing it live. I'm not managing a chat. And then once it's off of YouTube and Spotify, I put my rock music on. So if I need to take a sip of beer, there is background music because it's just me talking.
Yeah.
Totally we are having a lot of receivers going, which is what we're going to see here. We are almost to the end of round 9, which means we have 3 rounds left after that. Brock Spalding, kind of surprised he dropped there for a good dart throw for a wide receiver too in an offense that should be good at passing. I kind of feel like that's a great value play there by Josh.
Oh yeah, I like that one too. He was in my queue. Josh is sniping me in the back end of this giant draft. But I have 2, 3, 4 wide receivers, so I'm up in 5 picks. So I'm hoping that some of these wide receivers will be available to me.
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of like, I did close out all of mine, right? Don't you like it when you have to take it? Oh. All right, you're up. Why don't you go ahead and talk? You're coming up here on your turn.
I was going to take Miller there. Aha. So I'm going to take my the guy I have highest right. I'm going to take Brendan Jenkins here, South Alabama. So now the question is, do I get my 4th wide receiver or do I go my 4th running back, or do I get a wide receiver here? I need 2 wide receivers and a running back. Let me see if he's going to be the starter. Let me see something here. I think he's the starter, but there haven't been a lot of news about him. Do I go starter or do I go jeez.
10 seconds.
All right. I'll just take the other good report, Christian at UConn.
Hey, nothing wrong with a homer pick for your last running back there.
Nothing wrong. I mean, I was hoping that Durrell Robinson would fall to me, but I'll take Christian. I do think Cornest is the number one guy, but I do think they're going to get Christian involved here, from what I can read in Connecticut.
Gotcha. And I think that offense is an interesting one too, because there's a lot of potential in it.
Yes.
There's not a lot of certainty right now.
No.
There's certain guys that we kind of feel that way. I'm forgetting his name off the top of my head. Actually, I don't even know if he's been drafted. I'm curious. I'm going to look this up before I say the name, if you don't mind. I know I'm blocking the screen a little bit, guys, while I'm scrolling the name. So I apologize. They put him under UConn, don't they, instead of Connecticut? Yeah, they do. All right. He is still available. I'm not saying his name. There is a player on that team that is pretty good. But yeah, like some of these good high upside guys that are out there, and like I do think UConn's an interesting one, especially we're at the point now where like you take your dart throws, and for me, I'm left with all wide receivers. This is exactly the way I want to finish my last 3 rounds. I'm going to take dart throws at receiver, the one position I'm most willing to drop, and find the most abundance on the waiver wire or the auction board, whatever you want to say there.
Yeah.
You're also down to just receiver, correct?
Yeah, just receiver.
All right. And I'm just looking up now at Perk. I'm never gonna say his full name, but Perk, who's just drafted there on auto draft. He took Will Crowder. There you go. But the 3 picks before it were all auto draft tight ends.
Not a bad pick.
Well, actually, the Braylon Russell pick was one I was looking at earlier that the auto draft took, and I was debating him. So he's getting some help there. And Julian Lewis was one of the other quarterbacks that Cam Baller took. He took him last round. He was one of them that I was looking at when I made my last quarterback pick, but the bye week matched my starter. So, Julian Lewis I think could be a good dart throw there. The problem is I don't know. I know their schedule's kind of rough, and I don't know which weeks exactly, because I'm not using my schedule matcher tool, that I'm going to need my backup right now. So like drafting on the fly, I went with a safer pick instead. But there's a couple other names that jumped out too. It was in between your 2 picks. Javon Tracy, the wide receiver out of Minnesota, I think could be a good kind of steady Eddie, super deep best ball pick. So like I think you went the last pick in round 9, I think. Like that's a great spot in this draft. That was a great value pick. And I missed, did Josh pick again or not?
Oh, Josh did.
Okay, I missed who his pick was there.
I did too. Let me see. Oh, V Blue. I don't know. I'm running back Central Michigan.
Oh,
Vaughn Blue.
Vaughn Blue from that used to be at Liberty, which there's some upside there. I don't think any one running back will dominate carries at Central Michigan, but I could see something like if a guy gets a hot hand, he gets like a 25% bump in carries or something like that. Like I could see them leaning a little, but that they're still going to run at least 2 guys in there.
I agree. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to find some sleeper wide receivers right now.
Yeah, I've got them all loaded in my queue. So Steve from RotoWire took Mario Sanders from Southern Miss. I will explain, like I've been saying, 48 of the people in this draft are subscribers to my website. They see my player rankings. Most people talk about Mario Sanders at Southern Miss. I'm going to talk about, as I've done research in Blake Anderson's offensive history, what I've come to hang my hat on if I'm going to take a shot on a wide receiver in his offense. The guys that are the ones that do really good in his offense, it's like their wide receiver ones, they go really up and down. So part of it's always just going to be the general talent base that there is on the team. But when you kind of start breaking it outside of talent, I found there's 2 things that are a trend that follow like every time but once. It's an outside wide receiver who has a very high yards per reception number. So Mario Sanders is a slot receiver. And one time a slot receiver was the wide receiver 1. But if you want to know how much of an anomaly that season was, the wide receiver 2 for that team was also a slot. Like, you never see that. You never see 2 slots as the top 2. So to me, I'm like, they must have just had a bunch of injuries. Something must have just been different. But he has other wide receiver 1s that are outside wide receivers. But when they have just average yards per reception, they just end up being kind of a little above average wide receiver 1s. So every year I kind of will look through who are the outside wide receivers coming back, and what are their yards per reception, and that's what I use to, like, these last couple of years. I was right, and I'm forgetting his name. Jared, if you are still watching, throw it in the group chat, the live chat, because he knew. Like every year last year, I picked this Southern Miss wide receiver to be. He was my last wide receiver pick. And in the Kings Classic, Josh was ahead of me, and he was walking over to Josh and whispering, like, take this guy so Joe can't get him. And even though it was nothing but just following what I just described. Who's the best outside receiver with the highest yards per reception? That guy ended up being, I think he was the number 1 wide receiver for the year for Southern Miss last year, but he wasn't top-end talent, wasn't super high-end yards per reception, so he was just kind of an above-average or average overall fantasy receiver. But the formula still worked for finding the right type of guy. I'm sorry, I was double-checking, because I'm like, I think it's getting close to me, and it's going really fast. I'm 8 picks away.
It is going.
Yeah. So Mario Sanders, me commenting about something that was a pick made by Steve from Roto a while back, it can be a safe floor pick, but I think it's a really limited ceiling pick. And so that's what I always target every year. If you guys see me pick some guy who came out of nowhere, like, why is Joe thinking this guy's the top receiver at Southern Miss? That's my formula. Who's the outside receiver with the highest yards per reception on his career? And that has followed the stats in Blake Anderson's coaching history the best. I'm going to do another shameless plug for my website. I have an all FBS historical coaches database. In there, you can look up any team, and I have the coaches and all the stats I've been tracking over the years. And at wide receiver, I also track their wide receiver role. So I'm going to take Dalton, who's the guy that fits everything that I've just been talking about at Southern Miss, of an outside wide receiver with the highest yards per reception, because I'm now doing complete dart throws at wide receiver. But that, like, every last year, and like I said, I forget who it was. You know what? I do have the spreadsheet in front of me, so I'll look up the name here. If you don't mind talking for a bit, I'm going to look up the name and find who that. Actually, hold on. I have it up right now.
That
Carl
is
Chester.
a nice pick. Jaden Greenhouse, Notre Dame, this late in the draft.
Carl Chester was the Southern Miss wide receiver I planted my flag on in March. From just that breakdown, he ended up being their top receiver for the year. He only scored 115 points. But it's still that formula to follow and a good system to take a shot at. So that's kind of me kind of filling in all those blanks there. And I agree with you. Greathouse is a guy, good talent, good system that'll throw the ball around. We're all just waiting for him to, like, it seems to me like, just put it all together and be the guy we want you to be. We just still haven't seen it yet.
No, we haven't seen it. And
he's not been bad.
CJ
Carr. I want to throw that out. He's not been bad when I say that.
He
just hasn't lived up to expectations that maybe were a little too high out of high school. I don't know.
I agree. It's the dreaded expectations trap. When we think someone's going to be great and they just haven't been able to live up to it.
Mm-hmm.
So every time I put 2 or 3 guys in the queue,
they're gone.
They're gone. So I'm looking through the wide receivers here. Actually, that's a...
There we go. I'm just adjusting something on my 3 screens that I have going at the time. While you're looking on there, just catching up on some of this action here. And I think a lot of teams, I can't like pull up and look at other rosters because anytime you guys saw it when I was trying to look up someone on a team, the little pop-up will block the draft board. And I don't want to do that. So I'm kind of surprised here. We're in round 10, but we still have some guys taking running back shots. The Jones pick there at Liberty, the last one taken by Candyman, it's an auto draft pick, but I know that's a big favorite of Justin Leo over at volumepigs.com. He wrote a piece about him. At Liberty, they use 2 running backs. They're big, bulky running backs, mainly the guy that people focus on, but the other one, who Von Blue was, playing that slot position the last couple of years at Liberty, more of a smaller receiving type, and Jones was someone that Volume Pigs had pointed out, like saying like this is a guy who got a big breakout year, and it was one of his feature articles that he did. So that's like I think a good dart throw here late. And Knightonton from Baylor, I think the reports are, and I'm forgetting his name, Pendergrass. It seems like Pendergrass should get that expanded role that maybe they finally have a running back one that's a less committee. But if you're going to take a shot on the number 2 guy, it would be Knightonton. So, like, there you go, And I like the Mitch Griffin's pick here by What's Up. So he grabbed, getting him as, like, I think I mentioned earlier in the show, I think he's a great quarterback, too, that you can wait on. And he can be a good plug and play if the bye week isn't early in the year when he has a matchup against a Power 4 opponent.
Yeah, I was looking to see who he was going to. I wonder if there's anyone left. I wonder if we'll have any more quarterbacks. I feel like the teams have gotten their second quarterbacks here. There's someone took a. Wow, Alicio Miller. Is it Miller?
Don't ask me to say it. I do the same thing, and I don't have his name in front of me, but the Cal guy, by just saying his initials like you do, like that's what I've started doing on the podcast. I'm like, I'm never going to get it right, guys. I'm never going to get it right.
Did he win the job?
I don't know.
Okay.
And you're talking about our Michigan State guy, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, for everyone watching. I don't know. I am going to say this because I'm not invested at quarterback anymore. One of the names I brought up earlier that I was looking at that I liked as a late round quarterback too. Yeah. Reese Poffenberger, Akron is still out there. Alex Orji, UNLV is still out there.
Gotcha.
I know Ricky Collins did not look very good last year at Syracuse, but he was named the starter at Kennesaw State. He's still out there.
Okay.
I don't know. Okay, Jake Merklinger. Can you fill us in on what his situation is with UConn? Because he is out there.
From what I can read, he has not been named. UConn is not named the starter. I went to the spring practice or the open spring game, I thought he looked the best, but he did leave the practice early with an injury. But I still think it's 60% chance that he opens the year at quarterback.
Gotcha. And with my player rankings that I put on my website, I track where I think the position battles are. I can't have that loaded into Fantrax. I can't look at all of that and comment on it right now. So I'm bringing that up because I see Cole Gonzalez, Charlotte, and I can't remember because there's been a lot of news. Did Charlotte or was it someone else name their starting quarterback recently?
I thought
think like
Charlotte
5 or 6
did.
schools. I think 5 or 6 schools have named starting quarterbacks.
They did. A bunch of schools this week named starters.
So that's the one problem. I can't comment on that. And John Allen, Rich something at Toledo. I just off the top of my head, I'm sorry guys, the beers and whatnot. I can't think of him. I'm just looking at names in my rankings that are out there. I know Washington State is a tight race. So I personally would not draft.
Oh, you're up, Joe.
Oh, I'm up. Thank you. Thank you for catching me there. Ugh. So here's what I'm going to do. I think the South Florida offense for wide receivers has tremendous upside. There's so much we do not know exactly about. Like I think Branch should be one of the top guys. I don't really know. We don't know what sort of floor is there. But Hartline, the type of system we've seen him run, can be very friendly to receivers. So this was another offense that like I wanted to take a shot on at times. I just haven't grabbed a share because I've not been this deep in a draft. And so I do believe he was who I have listed as wide receiver 1. I just pulled down that spreadsheet that I had up because I just know at this point in the draft, we got a little over 1.5 rounds left. I'm not going to be able to juggle it all, but I just think taking a shot in that offense like Kenny Odom, who was drafted the round before, I think is just a good shot to take. And a lot of what I do, and anyone who's new to my work, I'm a big systems guy. A lot of campus to Canton guys, and I know Dynasty. Josh is this way over at Dynasty Points. I know Eric Froton is this way over at Yahoo Sports. They're big talent guys. Like they'll look at guys from the recruiting side, and then they kind of do talent first, system second. I've always been a system guy, so I kind of look for systems first. O'Neal there for Sam Houston State was one of the guys I was looking at because I'm looking at systems. So I'm just betting on systems at this point and hoping the talent works out.
So what I'm going to do, my friend, is I have to feed my dogs and take care of the family. I'm going to make my 2 picks, and then I'm going to have to say goodbye at my last 2 picks of the draft. Right. How's that?
Okay, that'll work. I appreciate it though, John, for staying in here as long as you did, not leaving me hanging, and then I'm sure the last of these picks will probably go pretty quickly here, anyways, too.
Oh, it's all right. It's funny because outside of my office here, we have a dog door, and my boy
every
Zeus,
time your Huskies, I know you got. Was it 2 or 3 Huskies?
I got 3 Huskies.
Yeah.
And Zeus is telling me it's dinner time.
I was about to say, I get how that is. And funny side story while we're waiting for your pick. So the house I grew up in Washington, I didn't move to the state of Washington until I was 3 years old. The house I grew up in a cul-de-sac across the street, my best friend lived. Right next door to him was the family. And this house had a massive, huge, tall, fenced-in backyard. That family was the family that owned for 30 or 40 years the official live Washington Husky mascots. They were across the street and one door down. So every time you would watch University of Washington, and you'd see the live mascot run out with the team and on the sidelines, they lived right there. So I'm very familiar with Huskies. The fact that they had Alaskan Malamutes back then, so the bigger, fluffier ones, which I find gorgeous.
Yeah,
I think yours are more like the wolf style.
They definitely are more the wolf style.
but because of that, they're howlers, and all Huskies are pack animals like wolves too. So.
Oh yeah, my wife and I were making fun of them. Sorry to go off on a tangent.
No, it's fine.
We have a backyard with the fence.
You have to.
It was
you have to because they want to run.
75 degrees. And the Huskies would rather be inside with us than outside in the yard.
And that's the funny thing is like I said, Alaskan Malamutes, for people that don't know, they're really big and fluffy versions of Huskies.
Yes.
It's not like what you see now with the University of Washington, their current mascot. Like, John, and I'm not the best at dog breeds, but would you say like picture a Pomeranian? The fluffiness, but on a husky, like would that be a good way to describe it?
That's more than a fair way to describe it.
Yeah, so like those dogs would love to go running outside and everything too, which is the funny part of what you said. Like, because some of those things I learned, like they're pack animals, they want to go outside, they want to run and nip at each other, like they just want to be wolves in essence. Like that's their DNA. They want to be wolves.
The Huskies want to be with their family.
Yes, exactly. Whether it's the other dogs or the people, whatever the pack is, they want to be in the pack.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, it's a beautiful day out. Why don't you guys go outside? They're like, no, Dad. We don't want to go outside.
Actually, since we're talking random things right now, I want to look this up real quick. Oh, I just remembered it off the top of my head. Since we're talking wolves and things, and we're just filling in time as well, 2 things I'm going to bring up. Brett Muckdog said in the chat, thanks for broadcasting the draft. I appreciate it, and I appreciate John for sticking, and I appreciate everyone who was on today. Josh, Chris, John, appreciate you for staying as long as you have, John. But since we're talking about wolves and some of that stuff, one little minor movie not a lot of people have known. bear with me. Combination of concussions and beer are kicking in.
Ah!
The actor who played the lead role in Taken, I believe he's Irish.
Oh, is it Liam Nelson?
Yeah. Well, Nelson or Nielsen, because one of them was the naked gun. One of them was the naked gun.
Yes.
Yeah. So the lead star from Taken and Master Qui-Gon from the Star Wars Episode 1 and all that, he did a movie called The Gray, which is a fantastic movie where he's a sniper that works in like one of these Alaskan workstations that shoots wolves so they don't attack the workers. And they're on a plane flight home, and the flight crashes, and they're trying to survive while a pack of wolves is hunting them. It is a great movie. If you've never heard of it, go check it out. It's called The Gray. I guarantee you'll find it streaming somewhere. Guarantee.
I will, my friend.
So
I'm up in 4 picks.
Here we go. Perfect. I helped kill some time for you while you're getting your queue ready and trying to figure it out.
So I got 5 receivers right now in my queue. I have to take 2 receivers in these last 2 picks.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to hope they stay around here. You never know, right? We're getting sniped here late in the draft. And Josh just took his second quarterback, Mason McKenzie, Boston College. I have been hearing decent reports. I just don't know how good BC's offense is going to be.
I agree, but once again, that's one of those things that's difficult about reaching for your quarterback too. Okay, yep. You're up.
Yes, I'm going to go with what you mentioned. System. Zachariah Sample, Texas State. He might be their 3rd receiver. In a best ball, I'll take the shot.
Gotcha. And actually, you're just reminding me now to the point of I need to relook up the name. Actually, I'm going to take that back because the guy I'm thinking of, I heard has been practicing all over the field. Go ahead with the next one.
Last pick of the draft. I need a wide receiver. We mentioned this team at the beginning of the broadcast. I think North Dakota State's going to be pretty good. Mekhi Collins, I'm going to take him at wide receiver. I'm going with 2 players who I think are on good teams that will be able to score. It's a best ball. I don't have to make decisions. Maybe I get lucky a couple times with them.
Now, speaking of getting lucky, I'm going to give you one question before I let you off the hook here.
Yep.
You passed on a guy I mentioned earlier. Didn't bring him up by name from UConn. Why did you pass on Kai Flash Wilson?
Well, I already took 1 UConn.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to take 2.
But it's your 6th wide receiver. At this point, what does it matter? He either works or doesn't. Right. If it doesn't work, you're just dropping him.
You're right. I had made a conscious effort not to take 2 Huskies today.
All right. So, that's a fair enough point. A very fair enough point. So I appreciate you being on, John. Thank you so much. And today is Sunday. So just a reminder to you, 6 days from now, the Fantasy Ballers, our home league, is drafting, which has now become a second or another experts league when you start looking at everyone that's in it.
You know what's great about that? I looked it up. I think I've been in it since 2017, 2016. But this is like the 4th time I have 2 drafts because I have an NFL draft that's 39th year. How long I've been playing with my buddies. And you're on the same night as my 39th year NFL draft. So I'll be doing our draft and the NFL draft at the same time. It'll be a good night. Let me say that.
All right, man. Well, hey, I'll let you go here. Thank you so much for joining me again. And I can't wait to draft with you again on Saturday night.
Thank you, Joe. Have a great evening, everyone.
All right, take care. All right, everyone who's still watching, you give me a moment because I now have to do a number of things to adjust on the fly here. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is ending that. The second thing I'm going to be doing, I'm 23 picks away from me. I've also got to watch myself. I'm going to get rid of that. And I am going to get rid of that. And now it's just me on the screen as I'm adjusting live on the fly here. So let me also close off this. I do not need that up anymore. And so some of the stuff that you guys are hearing, guys, John Laub and I go back, we mentioned throughout the broadcast, early to mid 2010s. he's been playing in my home league, and I just mentioned, like, my home league is kind of turning into an experts league. I'm going to rattle people off the top of my head that you would know that are active in the college fantasy football analyst space. There's John Laub. There's myself. I'm not going in any particular order here, guys. Elliot Mays Baconfield is in that. Tom Harvey from Tom Harvey Sports. And I forget, Debbie Dojo, I think might be his new one, is in there. I'm really struggling to think of everybody as I'm also trying to watch these picks. Steve from RotoWire is in there. I hate to say it. I'm at the point in the night, guys, where I've had enough to drink that I need a little assistance. So I'm going to have to pull up this league up on my computer screen just so I can remember here. Because there's quite a few people. Or there's other people, personalities that you might know from seeing online or in a lot of these mock drafts. So I mentioned Baconfield. I mentioned Tom Harvey Sports. Myself, John Laub, other people that you may have heard of, Rebel Nut, who is in this league. Rebel Nut and I have been playing college fantasy football since the 2000s. Shout out to you, Rebel. Good old friend that's been hanging around for a long time. I'm going to apologize. Goon Squad, I can look up your name because I know that you are on X somewhere. And I want to say something Jeffco. I apologize, my man. I just can't remember your full name off the top of my head. Curtis Jeffco. I don't know how much he tweets, how active he is, but he's been in that league for quite a while. Trying to go down the list. Brandon Lepper. He just recently joined the league this year. He's very active on X. But like, this is my home league. I actually consider, no offense to the rest of the CFF analyst expert universe, I find my home league harder than the Kings Classic. Like, I felt like teams are battling, scratching it out harder to make the playoffs in a 13-week season than I found last year in the Kings Classic in a 14-week season. Now, that could also be the scheduling thing too, but every year I fight my butt off in that league just to, like, you have to fight your butt off to get in the playoffs and then to try and win it. And it came down between myself and Baconfield. Baconfield beat me last year for the championship, but that is a very surprisingly rough league. We had 2 openings. Unfortunately, one was a longtime member who passed away. That's how entrenched this league is. Older gentleman, so nothing, overly tragic besides the fact that someone passed away. But our 2 replacements this year were Steve from RotoWire and Brandon Lepper. Like you want to talk about finding a great free agency bench to pull people from. So kind of filling that in as we're going through here. These are the last picks. We're going really deep wide receiver. I'm not giving a lot of commentary because like this really is just taking long shots. And right now I'm looking at, I've got several guys on my list. I mentioned Kai Flash Wilson. I think he very well is the wide receiver 1 at UConn. He is in my list. There's 4 picks ahead of me. Once I'm done making my pick, I'll kind of then start to wrap up the show for you guys. But as I'm looking at this here, I see several guys that I'm very interested in taking shots on. And I might go out of order for where my draft picks go. We still have some running backs going off the board, which I do find surprising. It does look like the live draft chat has stopped, which is fine. I haven't seen anything new to respond to in a while. But I think that, like I said, I'm a system guy. What sort of systems do I want to take a chance on? And I'm not so much trying to think at this point, like whether or not someone wins the job or they live up to what I think. I'm like, if they could live up to what do I think I should do here? I'm just going to kind of say some of this out loud. I can't say the full names just because I can't see them. I don't want to block this. I'm short on time. M. Long from Air Force could be that next dude who gets to run the ball a lot. I'm going to pass on him just because I don't know enough that I want to take my last shot on him. C. Thompson from Northern Illinois, I am really leaning him right now. But like, if I'm leaning toward one system that I'm hoping there could be a breakout for, I'm leaning toward the Colorado State offense. So taking a shot on Maurer. But Thompson from Northern Illinois, I think, could be that wide receiver one. And they've got a really good quarterback to back that up too. And then Kai Flash Wilson was the fourth guy I was looking at. A lot of just good wide receivers to take a shot on. At Colorado State, Mosley would be that next guy I would take a shot on. So just throwing some of those out there. But I want to thank everybody here for watching the show. We've actually been going for quite a while here. I've been surprised. This draft took longer than last year's draft. Last year, we wrapped it up in right about, I think, 2 hours and 30 minutes, just a hair over. We're at about 2 hours and 45 minutes here. I was expecting more people to be on auto draft and for this to go faster. So for all of you guys that have watched this long, thank you so much. For all of you guys that are premium subscribers to my website, you've been involved in this draft. You've been invited and you're ready to compete. Thank you so much for just supporting my work. And I'm glad to get you guys into a fun contest like this. I also want to thank the league sponsors again. Fantrax. They host one of the most unique, flexible league hosting sites that are out there. I have 52 teams. I literally have to juggle a best ball format setting for a regular season and a head-to-head setting for the playoffs. And I can do it with their website, and I can do it with 52 teams like this. So Fantrax, thank you so much for sponsoring this year. Looking forward to more years of having you as a sponsor. And I also want to thank, this is the second year that the Battle for the Belt has been happening, and Arm Championship Belts, they've been a sponsor since day one of this special contest that I've been hosting. They're the ones who literally make this happen. They provide the belt that we give away, and they do an awesome job. You're not going to see it very well on the little screen here, guys, but I'm going to guess this thing weighs at least 25 pounds. It is based off of the WWE World Heavyweight title. They doubled, so from the first year to the second year of our partnership, they doubled the budget of what they're giving me to put toward the product that I can give you guys. And so I want to take some time to really kind of talk about them while these last picks are happening. They will, if you love wrestling just in general, you can buy an authentic, real wrestling belt from them that looks like any league, any wrestling league that you like. You can go buy it, buy the real thing there. Small startup, companies and whatnot, hire them to make their belts. So like one of these, like an independent territory wrestling company hires Arm Championship belts to make their stuff. That's the level of quality that they do. But also they do custom anything. So I took a WWE belt, but I gave them my logos. And I said, I want it to say 2026 champion. I put my logo in the middle instead of WWE's. I took another old wrestling belt. Any of you guys that are wrestling fans, the WCW Big Gold belt. I took that, put a college fantasy football logo in the middle, and then on the sides, I put every year that I've won a college fantasy football championship on individual slats. They have generic things if you reach out to them and just say, hey, I'm interested in doing something custom, they'll have a conversation with you and they'll make something awesome. So I really want to plug Arm Championship Belts. If it wasn't for them, I could not provide this contest. So thank you so much, Abdul, and everybody over there at Arm Championship Belts. You guys are awesome. Like I've said, and I'm going to say it again, I could not have done this without you. So that does wrap up our draft here, guys. And because of that here, we're going to kind of wrap up the podcast. But I've been thanking everybody that I can. I want to thank John Laub, Josh Chevalier, Chris Battistel for joining me on here. I want to thank all of you guys for watching this. And once again, if you're new to my work, my name's Joe Arpasi. I've been doing college fantasy football coverage going all the way back to 2008. You can find my work at collegefantasyrain.com. Thank you so much, guys, for watching the College Fantasy Rain podcast. Your CFF Rain starts here.